All right, good evening, everyone. The January 21st, 2026 meeting of the City Council will now come to order at 6 p.m. May we have roll call, please?
Jessica Ayers.
Here.
Nick Card.
Here.
Kevin Keating.
Here.
Mike Curlinger.
Here.
John Quinn.
Here.
Zach Smith. Kevin Stein.
Here.
And Garrett West.
Here.
We have 7 present.
Thank you. We have a quorum. City manager reports. Mr. Vile.
Mayor, Council, John Vile, your interim city manager. Just a few things to update council on this evening. First of all, just a couple updates on some large recruitments we have going on. So our information and technology director Barb has announced her retirement. She's leaving at the end of February. That's been advertised for some time. We have had an overwhelming response to that. Nearly 100 applications, 71 of them were deemed to be qualified. So staff is working on a screening process on that now, and interviews will be scheduled for February. As was noted when you assigned me to this position, you have the ultimate authority for hiring all director positions, so we will be going through this process and then making a recommendation to you for final council approval. In addition, the police chief has officially retired at the end of last month, but he's going to continue to work on with the city through June. We're going to be getting his recruitment underway here shortly. That'll be posted here shortly, and we will keep you updated on that process as well. You've had numerous study sessions and discussions and meetings and approved lots of things regarding the wastewater treatment plant. And just a quick update on that. The financing plan is complete on that project. It's a mixture of some cash that we have, but then the WIFIA loan and the sewer revenue bonds, of which a $50 million bond, as I noted last week to you, has been issued. We received a fantastic interest rate on that compared to what we were expecting, and over the life of the bond should save us nearly $12 million. This March, we are planning to have design at 60%. And on your agenda tonight is an early work package for our CMGC contractor to basically get this project started. They are requesting permission to buy some very long lead items, pumps and piping, and some items that can take up to 2 years to receive. And so we want to get those orders made and get that process underway. The bottom line is this has been a discussion item in front of you for years. This project is now real. We are starting to spend money, and this project's moving forward, and we're going to get in compliance with our permit, and we're going to get the plant upgraded as needed. Our HR department is very busy right now. The city has 7 different collective bargaining agreements, 4 with the Teamsters, AFSCME, the fire union, and the police union. 6 of those 7 all come due or all expire in June 30th of this year. So Bonnie and her staff have started the process of negotiations with the 6 unions that are represented. The police union their contract does not expire till next year. But for the remaining 6, that process has started. Ground rules have been established, but no formal bargaining proposals have been made yet. And as though that process continues, we will also keep you informed of that. Just a reminder, tomorrow at the Rogue X at noon to 1:30 is an opportunity to celebrate and thank our volunteers who serve on our boards and commissions, and we hope to see you all there. As you know from the positions that you all hold, these positions don't pay very well. It's a large commitment, and thanking them for their service is always welcome. And lastly, just some key meetings coming up. Next week, we're going to be talking about the city manager recruitment process with you, getting information from you on what you need for that, and so we can get that recruitment underway. The first meeting in February, we're going to receive a report from Judge Greer regarding the status and the state of the court, and we'll also ask you to approve our federal legislative agenda for our lobbyists. And then in the middle of February, we'll have a study session, which is the 3rd step of the Economic Improvement District downtown, which is the public hearing. So some important meetings coming up. And with that, we'll take any questions if you have any.
Well, thank you. Any questions?
All right. Thank you.
You're off easy. There you go.
All right. Thank you.
Employee recognition. Human Resources Director Bonnie Barish is here to recognize 2 employee anniversaries, 1 retirement, and announce the Employee of the Quarter. While she's setting up, I'm just curious, how many people here are from Public Works? Building? Excellent.
Mayor, Council, my name is Bonnie Barish. I'm your HR Director, and tonight I have the privilege of recognizing our amazing employees. So I would like to start with the anniversary of Kelly Aiken. I know we all know and love Kelly. Kelly was hired January 23rd, 2006 as a planner 2. She promoted to a senior planner in 2006 in June, and her primary responsibility as a senior planner was to staff the Planning Commission. But she has also been assigned oversight of the Site Plan and Architectural Commission and Landmarks and Historic Preservation Commission in 2008, and some staffing, after some staffing changes. Her title changed to Principal Planner in 2013, then to Assistant Planning Director in 2017. She has sat through literally hundreds of public hearings, maybe more than hundreds, Kelly. And she said, oh boy, the stories that she could share, but she doesn't. So staff refer to her as the Oracle. She knows everything in planning, and she is just kind of a go-to person for the whole city. So please congratulate Kelly Aiken on 20 years of service with the city of Medford. So thank you, Kelly, for those years of service. Next, I would like to recognize Sam Barnum. 30 years of service to our city. Amazing. So it is my pleasure to recognize Sam for those 30 years of service with the city of Medford. For his career, Sam did not start as a government official. Rather, he worked as a highly respected contractor in the Rogue Valley, building homes and commercial structures. That experience gave him a unique perspective on the needs for the role and of building inspection. Contracting, as you can imagine, is a challenging business. It's subject to swings in the economy, and it's often unpredictable. So to ensure stability for his family, Sam sought employment with the city of Medford, and he was hired as a senior building inspector in 1996. In 2012, he was promoted to Assistant Building Safety Director, and in 2014, he was promoted to Building Safety Director. And then as recent as 2024, he was promoted to the Community Development Manager. Sam wears many hats where he's looked upon as a resource for staff, other divisions, and the contracting community as a whole. He has mentored dozens of inspectors over the years, and he's gained the broad respect of his employees, peers, and the community. Quite simply, others look to Sam as a problem solver where he finds solutions to complex building issues and permit problems. Sam always tries to get to yes. Sam has made a career of finding that sweet spot with working as a regulator over the building industry while at the same time serving as a partner with the contracting community. That balance is difficult. Sam makes it look easy. Sam is not only recognized by his staff and the local contracting community as an outstanding building official, as in 2021, the statewide Oregon Building Officials Association awarded Sam the Building Official of the Year award in recognition of his outstanding continuation and contributions in building inspecting and service. Congratulations to Sam for 30 years of service to our community and to the city of Medford. Thank you, Sam, for those years of service, 30 years. Let's congratulate that. Shifting gears, when we have an excellent employee that decides it's time to do fun things in retirement, and that would be Michael Lundberg. He has 20 years of service, and I would like to invite Dan Worth up here to talk a little bit about Michael.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Dan Worth, Public Works Director. As Bonnie mentioned, Mike's been with us for a long time, 20 years. He's one of those guys that you may not recognize him, you may never have seen him before, but you see his work all over the city from one end to the other. In 20 years as an engineer designer, he has designed streets, stormwater projects, sewer projects, and various other miscellaneous things that you can see everywhere you go. I'm not going to go over a long list, just a couple of things I want to point out. I know that not counting Foothill Drive, which I'm going to get to in a minute, but among all his other projects, he's worked on at least 2 projects that were valued at over $10 million in construction. And to put that in perspective, I left a city that's like 4 times the size of Medford, and I had an internal design team, and I don't think the whole team ever did $10 million worth of design in 1 year. And Mike has done 2 projects that check that box. Phenomenally productive, and he's been a great asset for us. I mentioned Foothill Drive. That is the king of projects. That's one of the most ambitious projects we have undertaken in the city. $65 million, federal funds involved, which make the design effort harder, not easier, because there's a lot of requirements you gotta meet. Mike was the lead on the design team, and this was an all hands on deck. We had the whole design group involved, but Mike was the senior guy. He was the go-to guy, put a tremendous amount of effort over a 3-year period bringing that design to completion, and then spent 2 years during construction as the engineer doing construction administration during the final phase of the project. So 3 years of design, 2 years of support during the construction process. I got here 6 months ago, and that means that Mike put 5 years of effort into this project. I get here, I go out in the community and hear all these compliments. It's a beautiful project. It's Mike's work that shows. I got all the credit because it looked like a great project, but I got credit for 5 years of hard work that Mike could put in before I even showed up. And then the last thing I want to mention, leadership. He's technically not in a leadership position, but he's the leader of that team, the design team that we have. 20 years of service, 5 other members of the design team. The senior, the most longevity of any of those other members right now is 5 years. That's the longest any of them has served. So Mike has been the guy that has brought those guys along. He has been the natural leader of that group, been a mentor. He's not just delivering designs, he's delivering designers. And Mike's going to leave a big set of shoes to fill, but he is doing a lot of work to prepare people to fill those shoes. So I just want to say thank you, Mike, for the support and the accomplishments that you've achieved during your time with the city, and I wish you the best in retirement.
And his wife? Congratulations on retirement, Mike. And the fun continues. We are getting ready to honor our Employee of the Quarter. Alina Belts is our Employee of the Quarter. She is a utilities engineer and works also in Dan's group, so I'm going to call Dan back up to talk about Alina.
I get to do a lot of bragging tonight. It's awesome. Alina's a utility engineer. She's a utility engineer manager. She leads a group of about a half a dozen employees that handle much of the work involved in our stormwater and our sewer utilities. She's been working for the city for approaching 8 years, doing great things the entire time, although I am obviously more familiar with what she's done in the last 6 or 7 months. So I'm going to just make a couple of observations based on some of those things. 3 projects I want to talk about, or 3 efforts I want to talk about. One is Lazy Creek Fish Passage. I don't know if you are even aware of this project. It's a fascinating project for me. I'm a fisherman. Alina, I don't believe, is a fisherman. But she learned a lot about what it takes to have habitat for little baby coho salmon on this project. We did this as a mitigation to make up for the environmental impact we did on another project. What Alina showed me in managing this project was her adaptability. She figures things out. She figures out how to get things done. She had to go through a maze of regulatory requirements, had to work with special design consultant for fish passage projects, and without knowing anything about this particular business, she developed and delivered a great project. If you're ever out in Bear Creek Park, you go to the parking lot off of Highland and go downhill and you'll see it. It's a beautiful project. It's come out very well, but she figured out how to get it done. I think that speaks a lot to Alina's capabilities. Another little incident that I just want to manage, the second item, we manage stormwater. Alina's group manages stormwater. Part of that is maintaining stormwater structures. A lot of our stormwater structures are big open ditches, and a lot of them get full up with vegetation in the summertime. We've got requirements to maintain riparian vegetation on a lot of these stormwater structures. We've got requirements to remove vegetation from some of these same structures in order to meet fire safety requirements and some other things. And in order for the drainage to work, they get so choked up with vegetation that it threatens their capability to function. So it's a conflict. And it's a conflict that was very difficult to resolve. Again, as with almost any utility issue, there's a whole bunch of regulatory requirements that often conflict. Alina pulled together a team. I got all the departments that were involved in one side or the other of the issue: planning, fire, public works ops, legal, code, and I'm sure others I'm missing. Pulled them all together and hashed out a plan, a work plan that worked on all counts to be able to make sure those facilities function, that we were fire safe, and that we didn't run afoul of the environmental requirements. And that just showed me her amazing sense of teamwork and ability to put that group together and come up with a good answer. And the final thing I want to talk about, we had another seemingly small project, but a stormwater channel off of adjacent to Temple Road in the northern part of the city. Had a heavy rain this summer. This thing was full of vegetation, clogged up, came within 4 inches of overtopping the channel. Could have posed a serious flooding hazard to houses in that area. And we started debating what we had to do, whose permission we had to get from the different agencies involved, had all those discussions, and then the weather forecast came in and said we're going to get 3 or 4 days of rain. We hadn't had a chance to implement any of that. We hadn't had a chance to approve permits. Alina sat down with me, with Alex, our city engineer, pros and cons, did a great analysis, figured out where the risk was, figured out what we needed to do, came up with a game plan, and we were able to get the vegetation out. It's about 1,000-foot long stretch of channel. Got that thing out before the rain came, no problem. She's able to come up with a solution, to come up with a compromise. And to do it under time pressure, because that forecast was there. We knew the rain was coming. We got that stuff fixed just in time. So adaptability, teamwork, responsiveness, be able to work under pressure, all great things. And then the last thing I'm going to mention, her nomination came from her employees. How often does that happen? The employees think so much of their boss, they nominate her to be Employee of the Quarter. And I think that speaks volumes about her leadership ability. Her employees love working for her and supporting her, and they deliver because of that. So congratulations to Alina. Well deserved, and I'd like to give her a hand.
We're not engineers. Oh, he is.
Congratulations, Alina, on Employee of the Quarter. And that concludes our employee recognition.
Well, thank you, Bonnie, and congratulations to our outstanding employees, and thank you for your many years of service to the community. I know everybody wants to stay and watch the rest of the meeting, but we can just go ahead and quietly let people that have dinner plans go ahead and get out. Okay, next up, we have Eli Oberlander from the Oregon Department of Transportation to provide us the semi-annual update. Welcome, Eli.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council. My name is Eli Oberlander, Oregon Department of Transportation. I'm the interim Rogue Valley Area Manager, which is Josephine and Jackson counties. I'm here to present a biannual construction project updates for projects that we have within the City of Medford project limits. Here's the list of the projects I'll be covering. So I've got the I-5 Southern Oregon Wrong-Way Driver Mitigation Project, Oregon 99, Oregon 238, Oregon 62 Big X Intersection, Foothill Road Corridor, Oregon 99 Glenwood to Coleman Creek, Jackson County Curb Ramps Phase 2 and 3, and then northbound Highland Drive to Barnett Road. The first project I've got is about wrapped up. It's the I-5 Wrong-Way Driver, Southern Oregon Wrong-Way Driver Mitigation Project. Between 2011 and 2015, we had 19 crashes on I-5 in Region 3, 3 of those being fatal. And so that we had a disproportionately higher number of crashes in Southern Oregon than we had throughout the state. So we put about $3.3 million for a project to put wrong-way driver mitigation on the off-ramps, so drivers aren't going the wrong way onto I-5. Some of those countermeasures are larger wrong-way driver signs, more reflectivity out on the highway, low-cost measures to stop wrong-way drivers, which those wrong-way driver crashes are mostly fatal. Those are the higher fatal crashes versus the T-bone or rear end. We also had recessed pavement markers, and then a couple flashing beacons at some of the higher safety concerned areas. That project is wrapping up here at the end of the month, and that span between the California border and exit 163. The next project I've got is Oregon 99, Oregon 238, Oregon 62, or the Big X intersection is what it's known as. That project is wrapped up. Last in July, we presented on this project. It was in construction, so this will be the last report on this project. This project is, for all intents and purposes, complete. We have some cleanup punch list items on some delineators that is a warranty fix. So you might see some construction activities out, replacing some of those recessed pavement markers, but that'll be at nighttime, and so the impacts to the traveling public, you shouldn't notice that. Foothill Road Corridor project, Danworth mentioned this project earlier on. This is totally a $73 million project. The city of Medford was successful in getting a $15.5 million build grant. And the intent of this project really is an alternate route for I-5 because of the viaduct in the event that we have a large earthquake. The viaduct is not seismically stable for a large earthquake, so this is a seismic resilient route. Like I mentioned, $15.5 million build grant. Most of the work on this project, mainline work has been completed, the widening has been completed, permanent pavement has been put down. Our contractor has not put the temporary stripe back, so we're anticipating March timeline we'll have the stripe put down. Contractors out there working right now on some driveways and some asphalt for the bike lanes that are out there. I think that's all I had on that project. Oregon 99 Glenwood Road to Coleman Creek. This project was in response to the Alameda fire. So ODOT, let me pull that slide up. We had about 7 different funding sources within ODOT that came together to build this project, which was intent to rebuild this corridor to really revamp, the community and help development kind of get back going after the Alameda fire. It's about a $20 million project. As you can see on the Knife River was the awarded contractor at $10 million, $10.6 million. But again, that was a fix-it project. We had AT leverage, we had enhance, we had bike ped, ADA transition, and then arts funding on that project. So again, that was a lot of funding managers at ODOT in Region 3 that realized that project is needed in the corridor. But again, that project really enhanced the multimodal, the bike ped and transit community through the corridor. We do have a project that is Glenwood to Matt Loop that I won't present on that because it's in design, but I anticipate in July we'll probably have that'll come into the presentation. We have 2 projects that are remediating ADA ramps in Jackson County. One is, we call it Phase 2, and then a Phase 3, which is right after that. But as a result of the ADA settlement, ODOT has been going around the state of Oregon repairing ADA ramps, bringing them up to compliance. And they've been phased. Again, we got Phase 2 and Phase 3. The intent on phasing those is constructing those. The first phase was ramps that didn't require ADA didn't require right-of-way. And in the subsequent phases had some sort of right-of-way or design concerns. And so that's why we've been batching them. Phase 2 had about 113 ADA ramps. Medford, Central Point, and Ashland was the majority of those ramps. Our contractor right now is in Ashland. There's the Central Point, White City, and Medford ramps are mostly done. There will be a couple of ramps back in Medford middle of next year. Right now, like I mentioned, the contractor's in Ashland completing the ADA ramps. Phase 3 is a larger bundle. It's about 400 ramps in Grants Pass, Ashland, and we have 4 intersections in Medford. The 4 intersections are at Beale on 99, Sage Road at 99, Lowry Lane, and Gold Range Road. So we have 3 intersections within the city of Medford, but that's a larger bundle, 400 ramps, with the majority being in Grants Pass and Ashland. And that's a $28 million project. We did get our HP Civil bid on this project, and we just issued notice to proceed the past couple weeks with a bid at $10 million. Our internal estimate was $19 million, so we're seeing lower bids come in, which is good. And the last project that I've got to report is the northbound Highland Drive to Barnett Road project. This project is, the intent is to reduce some of the queuing that we're seeing onto I-5 at exit 27 in the AM. In the morning, we see some, at peak hour, we see some queuing that backs up to I-5. This project is going to add some capacity at northbound Highland going onto Barnett Road. And so the queuing will happen. It'll allow some more storage up at that intersection, which will reduce the queuing onto I-5. This is about a $5 million project. The city has contributed $2.5 million to this project. Right now, we're looking to bid the project in June, and we anticipate the contractor will start work late this fall and be constructed by the end of next summer. And with that, I'm open to questions. Mary Dillinger is our public affairs specialist. She's not here today, but there's her contact information. Feel free to reach out, shoot her an email, or give her a call. But with that, if you guys have questions.
Any questions? Kevin?
You don't mind? Could you go back up to the slide where you did the ADA ramps? I think it was was it 40 million or 4 million? Okay, so what is the average cost of a ramp? Do you have any idea? I mean, I know it varies from place to place, but
Yeah, it's hard to say. It just depends on the location and the traffic that, the T-PAR, the construction work site that they have to do. But roughly our ADA group factors about $50,000 for design and construction for each corner. So for an intersection, that could be $200,000 per intersection is what they anticipate.
if you could go down 2 more slides, the one that showed right there. So these are replacing existing ramps.
Yeah, so ODOT was in a lawsuit with ADA over non-compliant ramps, and so all the ramps that we're rebuilding are not compliant with the ADA standards. Yeah, so some of these ramps were rebuilt within the past 10 years, but they do not meet current ADA standards, so we're required to replace them.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
if I might, I just want to add, Eli reported on the Foothill Road project. Dan talked about the design for the Foothill Road project. I just want to acknowledge Eli and ODOT. That was an interesting project in that the city designed it, and then we handed the plans to ODOT, and then ODOT was responsible to build it, and with an inspection team that was a hybrid team between ODOT and the city. And so it was a partnership that was challenging, but has worked great, and I just want to acknowledge Eli and ODOT for being a great partner on that project. The project's turning out great, but it was kind of bumpy getting there, but it's turning out well.
One question in regard to like the Highland, which is not about Highland, but on Barnett, when that got reconfigured with the intersection, we're also seeing considerable stacking on that backs in. Now that being a city street, if there's need to have that addressed, is that a partnership with ODOT, not unlike the Highland off-ramp, or is that intended to be all city to repair?
Yeah, definitely the city would need to initiate that. The city controls the intersection. So for the most part, the city would lead that effort, but ODOT for sure would be involved as if it impacts exit 27.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And keeping on with our, we had a lot of public works and building and community development in general in 30.1. So I guess keeping with that, we have the Medford Water Quarterly Update by Brad Taylor.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Happy New Year. I know it's the 21st already, but I haven't had an opportunity to say Happy New Year. We've had a lot of capital improvement projects over the last year. I wanted to take this short bit of time I had with you and give you an update on a project that we did here in 2025 on our Willow Lake Spillway. So it's an interesting project. So again, this project is on a dam that we own and operate. This impounds Willow Creek, which is about 7.5 miles above Butte Falls, and there's a map there that shows sort of the general location of where Willow Lake is at. This project was built in 1953, and I made a point of showing that it was built for $840,000. So it's amazing now, what projects like that would cost compared to what they were back in 1953. This dam is a structure, a fairly large structure. It's 55 feet in height. It's an earthen constructed dam, and it stores just a little over 8,000 acre-feet of water, which equates to 2.7 billion gallons, that's a fairly large volume of water. This water is not used in the direct provision or delivery of water to our customers. This project is used to, in a partnership with the Eagle Point Irrigation District, and it came into being as a result of us bringing 2 pipelines down from Big Butte Springs in that time frame around 1950. And at that time, we share a water right with the Eagle Point Irrigation District. And so in order to bring another pipe down of spring flow, the Medford Water Commission negotiated with EPID to build this dam as a way to mitigate for the impacts of bringing that second pipeline down from the springs. And this water is then used to release to the Eagle Point Irrigation District. So a very unique circumstance, and has created a long-lasting working relationship with the Eagle Point Irrigation District. Just a couple photos just to give a little history. I love history. And so just here, just the original construction. And this was back when you could get away with doing things like this, but it makes me a little jealous. Not really, but yeah. Yeah, and you know, now as an employee, we couldn't drive our car on the spillway. They got to drive their car on the spillway, so yeah, it's all good here. But so this dam is considered a high hazard dam by the Oregon Water Resources Department and the state engineer. The reason why it's considered a high hazard dam is if it were to fail, it could cause significant damage to people and/or property. So that's the reason why it has that designation, and therefore it receives an annual inspection to ensure that it stays in compliance with the standards that are provided to us by the state of Oregon. So this project came out of those inspections. It was identified that the spillway was had some deterioration in it. It wasn't an imminent issue, but it was an issue that was recommended that it needed to be dealt with. But overall, our inspection reports, as pointed out in the quote here from just this year, is that the dam is in good working order and is well maintained. And this project moved it further in that direction. A couple pictures here just to show the existing condition prior to the project execution. So this is the overflow structure. We're hoping this year that the lake actually fills up and uses the overflow structure. So fingers crossed, and do your rain dance for us, because it's been a dry year so far. But you can see here the deterioration in the concrete and the cracking, and these were the issues that were addressed in this project. We carried this project out by contracting out with a design firm, Marquis & Associates, in 2021. We evaluated the spillway, developed initial construction plans, which we updated here in 2025. We put those plans out for competitive bid, and those repairs were associated with putting new concrete topping on the spillway itself, repairing the sidewalls, and sealing the actual weir structure. Pretty straightforward project, really. So in this project, again, I mentioned it was competitively bid. TRC Construction was awarded the low bid on the project, and it was completed in November of 2025. This was a budgeted project. The cost up there, $565,000, includes not only the construction, but the design and construction inspection work and our staff time associated with delivery of the project. And hence why I wanted to have the comparison of the original cost of what it took to build the whole dam. So a couple of pictures here just to show what went on and to do the repairs. That's a concrete saw that you're seeing in that upper right picture. So we cut off the top of the wall and used that as a way to get a good repair on the top of the wall. We sealed all the cracks in the structure and at the weir, and then we topped that with a new layer of concrete over the top, and that's shown them just starting that work in that next picture. And then this shows the finished product. So we're done, it's complete, and now we're just waiting for the dam to fill up with water. So hopefully it does, and with that concludes what I wanted to share with you tonight, and I'll open it up if there are any questions.
I'm going to take the first couple of questions. The first is, I'm more familiar with federal facilities, and where they are very specific to call it the safety of dam program, but I noticed it's referred to by the state as dam safety.
Right.
Excellent.
Correct.
Excellent.
Got
I
to
do
say it
like that a lot.
Say it amongst friends.
And then, when's the last time this spilled?
It spills annually.
Okay.
So every year during a normal rain year, not a drought year, and even in a drought year, the reservoir typically fills and overtops and uses this spillway annually.
Great. Other questions? Thank you.
Yeah.
That moves us into our audience, which is still quite full. Oral question and communications is where the council sets aside 30 minutes for in-person public comments. Comments are limited to 2 minutes per person or organization. As outlined in the agenda, the public may also submit written comments to the council. Winnie, please note the written comments received for the record.
We received 6 written comments for tonight's meeting. Phyllis Nelson submitted comments in support of returning Main Street to its previous configuration, and we received comments from Shobi Orman, David and Nicole Sanders, Shayla Stewart, Cassie Rose, and Skylar Stoneman in support of funding for the Ivy School and Children's Museum of Southern Oregon. The comments were submitted to the mayor, the city council, and appropriate staff. Comments are also available on the city's website. There were no other written comments received for agenda item 40.
Thank you. Before hearing public comments, I'd like to note the decorum policy for the council chambers. The use of noisemakers or disruptive audience behavior such as applause, cheering, or shouting is not permitted. Decorum violations are time-consuming and disrespectful to the speaker and all attendees. Failure to follow the basic standards of decorum may result in removal from the meeting. I would like to emphasize that this is your opportunity to provide comments to the council and is not intended to be a time for questions and answers. If you have completed a public comment form, please come to the front of the room when you hear your name called. The time is 6:43. Winnie, has anyone completed a public comment form for tonight's meeting?
Yes, Your Honor, we have 6 comment forms submitted. So I'll just call the first 3 with Matthew Root, Clarence Carr, and Diana Anderson.
Good evening, and thank you for giving this the opportunity. My name is Diana Anderson, and I'd like to speak to you on behalf of the Southeast Plan, which is a climate-friendly area. And I just wanted to give you a handout so you could go home and kind of review exactly the history of it and where we can find more information for those people who live in that residential area. We all know that the Rogue Valley Council of Governments obliged every community in Southern Oregon to come up with climate-friendly area designations. And then with the assistance of outside consulting agencies, and they put together a task force that's now putting together 85 different actions and strategies in order to affect everything that we consider community, all our lifestyles and all our livelihoods. I thought I'd give you a couple definitions of climate-friendly areas. From the Department of Land Conservation Development, they said a climate-friendly area is a neighborhood unit where people can meet most of their daily needs without being forced to drive. So if you feel like you're being forced to drive, you probably won't mind living in a climate-friendly area. But the Southeast Plan underneath the Medford ordinances say that their goal was to assure that the development of the Southeast area occurs in a manner that reduces reliance on automobile travel. But then it also promises that you're going to promote the location of public uses within the village center. That's out by Albertson's shopping center there, such as fire station, daycare center, community center, church, park, public plaza, etc. Community center is the most important. because years ago with UN, I studied this in the 1993 when the UN called all this community education. A CFA also, or neighborhood unit, is called a new unit of settlement, described in a book called The Ideal Communist City. And you can download that whole book for free on the line. It was created at Moscow University by Alexei Gutenov and his comrades. And from their book, quote, they stated, the most remarkable aspect of this site plan is that everyone is in walking or tramway distance from the school, community centers, residential areas, and transit nodes.
Ma'am,
It is
I'm
a
sorry,
residential suburb without auto dependency.
I think, unfortunately, we have
That's
a time
fine.
limit. If you have anything else
I
to
wanna
just
thank
close
you.
with? Yep,
Thank you.
perfect, thank you. Yep. Just come on up and introduce yourself.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. My name is Matthew Root. I'm the owner-founder of Root Jewelers, downtown Medford, right at the intersection of Main Street and Central Avenue. My comments here tonight are pertaining to the bike lane as it sits and what we're kind of thinking about. In general, I want to share my customer sentiment as somebody that converses with a lot of people parking and navigating downtown. Generally speaking, it's overall wanting to go back to the three-lane operating of that street there. We consistently see people driving their cars the wrong way down the bike lane. Yesterday or a couple days ago, I saw a U-Haul truck driving the wrong way in the bike lane. And it created a big sense of confusion downtown and how to navigate downtown. My clients, overall, I have never had anybody come into the store and say, oh my goodness, this is fantastic because this bike lane allowed me to ride my bike and park closer to the store or do something like that. None of my employees, nor any employee that I know of downtown has changed their commuting to incorporate bicycles. And the utilization of the bike lane, looking at our big glass windows, is nearly zero. We see cyclists continue to ride with traffic if they're an experienced cyclist, or unfortunately on the sidewalk, more commonly than we see them using the bike lane. So overall, my opinion of the public sentiment is certainly, at least with my customers, is to return to the three-lane operation, one direction. Thank you for your time.
Perfect, thank you.
Hi, my name is Clarence Carr. I live in Medford. I won't take up too much of your time. I do want to ask this council for your internal government agreements with the tow companies. Your judge is Greer. Your tow companies are charging me $695 a day, $65 a day after, which I've been paying for over 20 cars, lost over 10 vehicles. But come to find out, it's a breach of your guys' contract. And when I brought this up, Judge Greer refused to hear it at my tow hearing. But, so, this is how I stand. I came to you guys before, and the response I got the sheriffs to take it this time. You're not even allowed to operate in a homeroom city such as this place. I'm very thankful for you guys to teach me what the word autonomy is, and I'm very proud of that word now. And you know, there's equal protection, equal rights. The same autonomy that this city requests, the citizens get, and you guys should make your police respect. So, that being said, the cover-up of Eric Mitten saying MMC 51.75 is not a state code. You guys adopted the criminal code, and you guys are delegated that authority through the state. For him to say it's not a state crime, he's committing fraud, usurpation, whatever that new word I had to go look up and learn, of your charter. He's breaching your charter. So I meant this is fraud on your charter. This is fraud on a state instrument. And I meant it's even in writing saying you guys now, the city of Medford has state power to incarcerate people. They have state power to come and seize me from my own home, throw me in jail, and seize my children from me for 2 years on a blank order and call it not the state power. I don't understand this. The only thing I'm happy is to finally speak to the board of this corporation to let them know that this can't be tolerated.
Thank you. Others?
So the next three, it's a little bit hard to read. It's Sean, I think it's Rhines, and then Logan Vaughn and Britt Zimmerman.
Hello, my name is Sean Rhymes. My business is Paradise Footwear. I'm going to be moving the store to downtown Main Street here next month. I support biking, but a 20-mile-per-hour road is already bicycle friendly. So when you take a car lane and turn it into a bike-only lane, it hurts car traffic and doesn't really help bike traffic. Almost all the shoppers that I'm aware of come in cars. So if we want to support more successful businesses downtown, the solution is 3 lanes of traffic. I just think that's the best way to go, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Good evening, counselors. Wow, I don't know if it's just me, but it sure seems like everybody...
Just go ahead and introduce yourself for the record.
Oh, I'm Logan Vaughn, if you don't know me. Yeah, anyway, I'm Logan Vaughn. I'm the voice in the wilderness here in Medford, crying, prepare ye the way of the Lord. But that's a different subject. Hey, I don't know if it's just me and I'm crazy, but it seems like everybody... I haven't even heard one person wants it like it is. Everybody unanimously wants this 3 like it back was used to. This is not a hard decision, folks. But anyway, that's not why I'm here. Our time is worth money. And if you guys don't want to see me here every week, let's get John Peterman his money back. He was extorted for merely preaching the word of God, but it was classified as unnecessary noise by a wild, oh Lord forgive me, Judge Greer. She's wrong. And she needs to either give him the money back out of his pocket. We need to have somebody cut a check. I don't care if you guys round up $20 between us all. I'll throw in 20. We need another 100, 230 then. We need to get that money back to him. It's wrong. It was incredibly wrong. It's not a good look to have preachers preaching in the streets of Medford and to cite them for unnecessary noise. It's not a good look, Medford. It's not a good look. Second thing is the flock cameras. I guess I'm the only one here who has a problem with surveillance states, but I'll say it again. Where do we draw the line? Are we just going to attach cameras to each other? I went to the commissioners meeting to bring this up twice. Let's get them out of here. Also, I don't know what we can do to maybe ban, I know we can't ban, I guess, abortion in the city, according to the Oregon, state of Oregon, but maybe we can ban the murder of unborn children and classify it that way. We need to stop sacrificing unborn lives right downtown here in Medford like it's going on. It's wrong. It's really wrong, folks. It's really, really wrong. And it needs to stop. Thank you, guys. God bless.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Britton Zimmerman. Good to see everyone, mayor, city council members. This is not the first time I've stood before you to speak about the importance of the Children's Museum and the Ivy School. But today I want to take kind of a different perspective, and I want to share the voice of the families, many of whom are sitting behind me today, all wearing stickers so you can know who they are. You may have received some letters this week expressing support for our work, and I want to echo the ideas shared by those families. If you spend just 5 minutes around our building, the level of joy is honestly unmistakable. Children are outside laughing as they learn to ride surfboards down a grassy hill. Grandparents are singing along during story time, and babies are taking their first steps along a sensory path. Joy is truly everywhere. But when you ask families what this place means to me, they tell a lot more than just joy. One family shared with me this week that the Ivy School and the Children's Museum of Southern Oregon play a vital role in strengthening our city and region. The museum supports working families, promotes equitable access to early learning, contributes to downtown vibrancy, attracts visitors, even ones on bikes, and helps build a healthier, more connected community. By investing in children at the earliest and most impactful stage of life, we are also investing in our future workforce and the long-term prosperity of Southern Oregon. Someone else's words, not mine. When I give tours of our building, families often tell me the same story of visiting the Medford Public Library as a child. They recall coming here with their parents and can always point to exactly where the children's section once was. Each year, thousands of children walk through our doors and begin forming those same memories. I can't help but imagine that years from now, they too will carry a deep love for this space, just as the generations before them have. On behalf of all the children and families who have experienced joy, connection, and lasting memories within these walls, I want to say thank you. Your continued partnership and support for all of our programs means the world to us, especially me, so thank you from the bottom of my heart. And just a heads up, to avoid disruption, some of our staff and families might leave during the public comments because it's a school night, after all. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. And that is public comment. We will move on to not approving or correcting minutes, as we will consider the January 7th, 2026 minutes during the February 4th meeting, and go straight to consent calendar, which we have 3 ordinances on the consent calendar tonight. Mr. Mitten?
Thank you, Item. Item 6.1 is Council Bill 2026-04, an ordinance approving and authorizing execution of a contract with Brown Contracting, Inc. in the amount of $1,761 to construct Americans with Disabilities Act ramp improvements along city streets that are scheduled for asphalt overlays in 2026. Item 6.2 is Council Bill 2026-05, an ordinance approving and authorizing an amendment for the Construction Manager General Contract Agreement with Sladen Constructors, Inc., per Section 2.4, to perform early work package number 1 in the Medford Regional Water Reclamation Facility Upgrade Project in an amount not to exceed $2,917,943. And item 6.3 is Council Bill 2026-06, an ordinance approving and authorizing ratification of an employment agreement between City of Medford and Virginia Greer commencing on January 16th, 2026 and continuing until January 15th, 2029.
Thank you. I will entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar. Kevin?
I move to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
So, motion and second. Items to be removed?
60.1.
60.1. Anything else? All right. Let's ballot on the remaining items. Winnie, would you call the roll, please?
Kevin Stein,
Yes.
Nick Card,
Yes.
Jessica Ayers,
Yes.
Kevin Keating,
Yes.
Garrett West,
Yes.
Zach Smith,
Yes.
John Quinn.
Yes.
We have 7 yes.
All right. So, those two pass. 60.1. Mr. Keating.
You know, I guess I can take this offline and talk to them directly, but I kind of want to see if there's an end in sight as to how many ADA ramps we have to replace in the city, and whether this will just result in, every time they make a change, we have to continue to replace them at the cost of $1 million a pop. I'm just curious about that, actually.
I think the question is, how many more do we have to go?
How many more decades or years or whatever?
Dan Worth, Public Works Director. I don't have an exact answer to that. I will point out, though, that this contract and other efforts that we've done on replacing ADA ramps are tied to our street overlay program. Our street overlay program, we're overlaying streets probably on a 15 to 20 year rolling schedule. It's tied to the degradation of the asphalt. Every time we do an overlay, we have to make sure all the adjoining ramps are up to federal ADA accessibility standards. Without knowing exactly where we are in the process, theoretically, after 20 years, we're done. It doesn't sound like a great answer, but there's going to be ramp improvements as we do our overlays for many more years.
And just so I'm sure, you're a little bit more wanting to know about the program in general. that's fine if you want to speak to this particular motion. What? Yes.
I was just going to say, and this is tied to some litigation that we tied up before Mr. Worth came here, so I do have some experience in this. But under our ADA self-evaluation and transition plan, we identified, I want to say, about 1,000 locations in the city where ramps are required, and we try and get to them whenever we're doing overlays, because you can't do all of those at once for obvious budgetary reasons. But if we're doing about give or take 100 locations a year, it's gonna take a little while longer. There's a number of neighborhoods that were built in Medford before ramps were a common practice, and then there are some neighborhoods where the existing ramps are very old and don't meet modern standards, and so those are what were highlighted through our self-evaluation and transition plan.
Other questions? Curlinger?
Yeah, I apologize. I stepped out for a minute, but Eric, I think you just touched on it based on litigation we've had based on the litigation that Eli was mentioning on the ODOT projects. This isn't really an option.
Different litigation they've had, but it didn't come out of that litigation. It came out of the federal law that preceded that litigation. We did prevail in our litigation. I just became really familiar with this stuff through that litigation. But it's regardless, this is not a discretionary choice. This is something that needs to be handled as per federal law.
Okay. I'll take a motion.
I move approval of Council Bill 2026-04.
Second. So motion and a second. Discussion? Mr. Keating, do you want to add anything? Discussion?
No, I understand that it's really not an option, but I'll be voting against it anyway, just on principle.
Perfect. All right, Winnie, may we have a roll, please?
Garrett West,
Yes.
Nick Card,
Yes.
Jessica Ayers,
Yes.
John Quinn,
Yes.
Mike Curlinger,
Yes.
Kevin Keating,
No.
Zach Smith,
Yes.
and Kevin Stein.
Yes.
We have 7 yes and 1 no.
All right, that motion carries. Does that take us into 80.1, Mr. Mitten?
I believe that does, Your Honor, so let me get to the right page again. All right, item 80.1 is Council Bill 2026-07, a resolution directing staff on the preferred configuration of Main Street between Oakdale Avenue and the connection to 8th Street.
All right, I'm assuming we'd like to see a staff report on this.
Why not?
Yep. Who's up? There's a lot of head nodding over there. Dan.
Sorry, got caught off guard there for a second. I am here to talk about Main Street. Not that you haven't already heard some opinions about Main Street. Just to should be towards just a brief history. October of 23, we restraightened Main Street. SRTS is Safe Routes to School, is a federal grant that was awarded for the project, approximately $500,000. In November of 24, after the project had been in place for a year, it was apparent that there was a lot of public opposition and dissatisfaction with the project. In November 24, we had a study session where staff presented before and after information. And I would add one thing, well, two things. Council told us to come up with a plan to fix it. A second thing that I'll add is that the consensus at that meeting was that we needed to do something, but we didn't necessarily go to 3 lanes because 2 lanes could handle the car traffic. And then you can see March, July, August, December of last year, various opportunities to talk to you. And that last one, December of 25, was to talk to you about public outreach and opinions that we had gathered about the project and what we needed to do to fix it. Briefly, I'm going to go over the 4 different options that we presented to you and that we talked about at the study session that we had last December. First option was to go back to 3 lanes, the original configuration. Second option is to keep it the way it is with the 2 westbound lanes, the separated 2-way bike track with the bollards providing the separation, and then parking on the left and right. Third option was a buffered bike lane. And one thing that has changed since that study session, one of the things that you asked us to do was to confirm whether or not we would have to repay the grant from the state if we chose this option. We have confirmed that we do not have to repay the grant. The determination is that the grant was awarded because the original project was going to achieve a safety improvement for bicycles, and frankly, that's a safety improvement for cars as well. Cars don't like to hit bikes. This, while it eliminates the 2-way bike travel, it does create a buffered bicycle option, which achieves the safety objective, so no grant repayment. That's confirmed. And then the 4th option was the 2-way street. I mentioned direction that you gave to us regarding the buffering. Actually, there was 5 points that you gave us at the study session in December. One was to investigate options for additional buffering. The option that we presented to you had buffering between the right-hand travel lane and the bike lane. It did not provide buffering between the travel lane and the cars on the left-hand side. You asked us to look into that. Item 2, you asked us to look at doing something with the entrance at the east end, coming over the bridge. Number 3, confirmation from ODOT. I already mentioned that we got confirmation from ODOT that the option 3 is what we referred to, does not require grant repayment. You asked us to bring back timing information and to assess the impact of future traffic from Creekside Quarter. So I'm going to address each one of those in turn. Yes, we can add buffering on the left side in between the travel lane and the car lane to protect people from, as they're exiting the right side of cars. We can achieve this by narrowing the through lanes from 12-foot lanes to 11-foot lanes. 11 feet is our standard, so that's perfectly acceptable. That gives us buffering on both sides of the road. I'm going to show you 2 different, this is the second point that you gave us to look at. I'm going to show you 2 different configurations for carrying the traffic across the bridge. One is associated with option 2, which is to keep the current configuration that has the 2-way bike track on the left-hand side. This shows that 2-lane bike track on the left side, the difference between what we have now and this essentially removes parking on one side and makes room for 2 lanes instead of just the 1 lane. This is also addressing a change to the entrance over Bear Creek Bridge, but this is associated with option 3 with the buffered bike lane on the right-hand side. This matches the 2 lanes of traffic with the parking along the curb on each side. The bike lane is there. There's no buffering. It loses, obviously without the 2-lane bike track, we have room for parking on each side and for 2 lanes of traffic along with the bike lane going across the bridge. The third item you asked us to look into is confirmation of the grant repayment. The 4th item was schedule and budget. This is similar to what I discussed with you in December. We can have final plans completed in the spring, bid the project in late spring, early summer, and have the striping completed by fall. That's if we change what we have out there now. And then as far as budget, ODOT confirmed no grant repayment. The grant would need to be repaid if we went to option 1, the previous configuration, because that does not address the safety consideration for which the grant was awarded. And also, as far as budget, how do we pay for this? We looked at the capital program, approved projects in the current biennium capital program, and we would suggest that you could delay the Bill Road and Stevens Street signal rebuild project that's budgeted in the current biennium for about $1 million, which would be more than enough to cover the unscheduled, unbudgeted changes to Main Street. The project at Biddle and Stevens is basically a revitalization of the asset. It's an old intersection. Signal needs to be replaced. Replacing the signal requires a relocation of it, and it's a difficult location because it's adjacent to a substation and overhead lines. We have to design and work around that. But it's basically a signal that's aging out, and we can drag it along for another 2 years into the next biennium. Public input, just a quick summary. We got letters of endorsement from 2 different significant agencies, the business community represented by the Chamber and the bike community represented by Siskiyou Velo. They both recommended option number 3, the buffered bike lane. Online survey, we had a lot of input in favor of the previous configuration, and the second preference was split. The online survey actually said that the current configuration was their number 2 choice. The open house, the buffered bike lane was the number 2 choice. Did I get that out of sequence?
No,
Yeah, I
think
addressed
it
the public
was-
input slide. I'm sorry, I had it out of sequence. The other thing that you asked us to look at was the impact of Creekside Quarter. And the bottom line is we did a very conservative estimate. We took a look at a close to full house in a hypothetical baseball stadium at Hawthorne Park, and the traffic that would generate. We chose that because that is a lot of traffic at one point in time, as opposed to traffic that would be generated by a hotel or a conference center. And we took the very conservative approach that all, whatever the number is, 1,500 or so cars that would be generated from a baseball game would go down Main Street, which is certainly not likely to happen. But if we put all the traffic from a stadium letting out at roughly the same amount of time down Main Street, you still have a level of service of C at Riverside, a level of service at B at Central. Our goal is to get everything at a D or better. So that certainly meets our objectives.
Okay, I think, well, all right, so we have, sorry about that, Dan, go ahead.
Well, I'm sorry about going out of sequence here. I
No,
got
we're
ahead of
fine.
myself.
I think we're good. Staff recommends option 3. I would say questions for staff, are there actual, here's what I'd like to do. If you have legitimate, I don't understand something about the options, let's ask Dan, but we're gonna set some time for a little pre-discussion prior to motion, which is a little bit different, just so we can maybe have some concept of what the motion would be. So if you have technical questions or don't understand something about the options. Mr.
These are technical questions, yeah.
Okay.
So I don't believe you showed on the, an original, or going back to the original outlay on the bridge itself. Prior to the changes, was there already a buffer, or a bike lane at all on the bridge?
No, sir. Before the project was done, there was not a bike lane across the bridge.
So that's what we would return to, and would there be 3 lanes of traffic on the bridge or 2? If we were to say go back to the previous configuration, would it be 3 lanes on the bridge as well, I guess is my
The
question.
previous configuration was 2 lanes on the bridge.
On the bridge, that was my question.
Yeah.
Okay.
There
thank you.
was parking on both sides and 2 lanes across the bridge.
Got it.
previously.
And that's what we would go back to. Okay, thank you. And then did your analysis take into account, especially with the baseball thing, the fact that there are often deliveries on Main Street, and then that takes up one full lane usually when there's a big semi truck on Main?
That is certainly a consideration. If we go to a two-lane configuration, the rule of thumb is that a lane of traffic can handle about 8,000 average daily trips. And you take away a lane for a short period of time for a delivery truck or from some other vehicle using the through lane and stopping in it and obstructing traffic, that still leaves you a lane. And our most recent counts were in the 4,000 to 5,000 average daily trips for the whole road. So you could handle that for short periods of time with one lane. It is certainly a concern, but we believe that we can handle it with two lanes, even if one is obstructed for a short period of time.
Yes, Mr. Croninger.
With option 3 that's being recommended, is there on the east side of I-5? Because I'm trying to, because we widen out once we get past the 8th Street turnaround and past Hawthorne Park. What would exist on the actual street? Would we have parking, travel, bike parking? Would that start that early? Is that a stupid way to phrase that question?
2 lanes of traffic, buffered bike lane, will start as you come up to the bridge. It's one lane.
It's one lane, and we have
one lane from the east until you get past the concrete intersection.
Yep.
Where 8th Street comes in, and then we will widen it out into 2 lanes, and the bike lane carries all the way through across the bridge.
So we would have 2 lanes of traffic and 2 lanes
lose the parking on one side.
Dan, go to your next slide.
The way it used to be was this lane
goes into a lane of traffic. Yes.
And that was the 2 lanes.
Okay. Yeah.
The only difference between this and the rest of Main Street is the buffering. We don't have room across the bridge for the buffering.
Okay, that's what I was trying to imagine. The bridge is slightly narrower. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. We have this one and then option 497. Would this lead into the same thing, but with buffering? Is that the concept that option 3 is proposing?
That's what this would lead into.
Okay. Stick around. Yeah.
One more technical question.
You bet.
This has to be designed around a parklet. How difficult is that? Like, how does that parklet kind of impact everything we're doing here?
The parklet moves to the curb and takes up a couple of parking spaces that would otherwise be there. We'll have a row of parking up against the curb. The Jefferson Spirits parklet would just be in that row of parking.
Okay.
So we would move it.
It was the previous configuration, Counselor. That's what we had before. The parklet was against the curb.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay. I'm going to start with an easy question. Little straw poll. How many people want to leave it as it is today? Perfect. I would entertain any kind of discussion on if you have a well, let's do it this way. How many people are thinking option 3 buffered, the single bike lane option? 1, 2. Option 3, it's called option 3. Okay, so we are in a spot of leaning that way. So we're leaning towards option 3. Now let's have just a little pre-discussion on that.
So I was just going to say I kind of went wiggly on option 3 because the feedback that we have some pretty influential organizations that are speaking to that option. It kind of avoids us paying back the whatchamacallit, the grant. Thank you. I like that. But there's also a part of me that is like, can't we just put this back to the way it was? I mean, I feel like from a community perspective, that's what I hear a lot of. And so, I mean, I want to be convinced of this if somebody's going to convince me of it. But like, I keep waffling back and forth on this issue, and I just don't.
Go ahead.
So I echo a lot of Nick's sentiments. As you may recall, neither one of us were in favor of the current configuration. So, my instinct is, put it back to what it was before we didn't want to do this. And that seems to be what a lot of people are most vocal on right now. And we did put it out to the public to get their opinion. And I think that it's important that we hear that and acknowledge it. That being said, I think that option 3 is the next best option to that.
Go ahead, Mike.
How deep down the rabbit hole do you want me to go right now?
Well, we've got all the time in the world.
It's Wednesday night. I don't make plans. I know that we had the survey. I'm very sensitive to the fact we had, roughly 4,000 respondents, and close to 2,000 of those were in favor of back to the way it was. That's valid. That's 2,000 people in a city of 85,000. So that is far from everyone in the city wants this. I've had multiple conversations personally with different organizations, different business owners, different landlords, different stakeholders, and different citizens. And I'm firmly convinced no matter what we do, roughly a third of everyone who cares is going to be pissed off at us. That being said, there is a lot of support for different options, not just what was in that survey. I've had at least a couple of people tell me if we don't leave it the way it is because biking is so important, we will be the stupidest city council ever. So I'm sensitive to the input we got from the survey. I think my in-laws live up near the top of Delta Waters. And when they built their house, from about a block or two before their house up until you got to Foothill, it was a dirt road. Delta Waters isn't a dirt road anymore. Cities changed, needs have changed, habits have changed. So I don't think anybody up here would say, well, let's just make Delta Waters a dirt road again because that's the way it was. Things change when the city changes. So just the way it was it was comfortable, it was familiar. That's not a compelling reason to me to do anything. I think the main issue, no pun intended, is that when we come into downtown, it feels constricted and bottlenecked and visually disruptive. We don't have enough lanes of travel. There's these weird chess pieces there that no one had ever seen before. And it just feels awkward. If we get back to the way it was before I-5, we get back to 2 lanes of travel, we don't lose any parking spaces, it doesn't feel constricted as you enter downtown, and we do have room for those one-off delivery trucks if they can't get into one of the delivery spaces. If we keep the bike lane on the right side of the street, the north side of the street, that keeps it consistent with what already exists on Main Street, so we're not awkwardly crossing a lane of travel. It removes a bunch of safety concerns as people are crisscrossing at different intersections. It keeps some bike capacity. I used to ride my bike all over Medford almost exclusively. I never had an issue merging with traffic. I've taken my backpack and my shirt off as I was driving down Riverside next to a car, and I didn't care. That doesn't mean everyone's comfortable with that. And I think to say, just make them share, it gets rid of the fact that not everybody wants to do that. This is a super chicken and the egg kind of thing. Do we build enough infrastructure to support the bikes, or do we build it after the bikes come? Fact is, cities are moving multimodal. I hate that word, but I think it's poor planning to not plan ahead for that and give that option. And I think the last thing is we're talking about trying to revitalize downtown and make it a place that people want to spend more time in. And going to more lanes of traffic at higher speeds is directly incongruous with making it more walkable and comfortable for people to get there in different methods. Like, I got an electric scooter for Christmas, and I'm stoked to ride that sucker downtown during the summer when the weather's nice. Other people are not going to do that if they're having to cross multiple lanes of traffic when they're downtown. It's not going to help people who are walking by to look in your storefront. A middle lane of traffic isn't going to do anything to help people shop in the shops downtown. No one is dashing across 2 lanes to suddenly get to the south side of the street because they realize they need soap. I love the soap shop, it's awesome, but 3 lanes is not going to help that business down there. I think this is the most reasonable alternative where it maintains all the parking we have, it adds some additional capacity for different modes of transportation, and it keeps the flow of traffic going steady. And then the last thing I want to add about the parklets is if we do readjust, I'm in favor of mitigating the cost for the businesses with parklets for having to put them back again, because we're flip-flop. I was going to say snip, snap, if you guys watch The Office. So I want to make sure that they're not getting hurt by this. But I think this is the most reasonable alternative.
Okay.
I don't think we're utilizing what we currently have, but the way it was is a silly reason to do something.
Okay. Mr. Keating, I see your light on.
Thank you. Mike makes some good comments. I don't think anyone. I hated this thing from the first time I saw it. And I've crossed Main Street 100 times, and I'm the oldest guy on this council. It's not hard to cross that thing. You know, you wait for a break in the traffic just like you've been doing your whole life, and you walk across. So I mean, just on that, I don't like I want to go back to the original configuration, but not just me. It would be nice if we poll the public and we get their input to actually, you know, adhere to what they're telling us. I think that's really important. I think it's important that the people of this city trust that their council is working for them. And, you know, I read a book called Wisdom of Crowds. A lot of time it's not the experts that have the best ideas. It's just a bunch of random people together making their ideas. And that's what I think we've got here. Almost literally everybody I've ever talked about this randomly has said, I want to go back to the way it was. Not, you know, gee, I wish we could reconfigure the bike lanes. I've ridden my bike a ton, and I have no problem riding down the street without a bike lane there. Bike lanes, in fact, you know, I may be wrong, but in my opinion, I mean, they can create a lot more confusion and actually, you know, possibly make it less safe. I know the way we have it now seems to be less safe than the original configuration. But really, I think at some point you just have to you know, say, hey, we tried it, it didn't work, made a mistake, let's go back to the way it was, and not think of a different solution. It's not as eloquent as I could be, but that's really where I'm coming from on this.
Perfect. Mr. Coyne?
You know, this is actually a test of what we think our role is. Are we essentially the conduits and the representatives of the people who express a view, and as their representatives, we do it? I was really happy to see Mr. Rhymes. We've had a chance to talk before. It was good to see him again. He actually brought a business into downtown, and so he's got quite a stake in it, and he's doing what we want people to do. Mr. Root is a new friend, but I appreciated his comments. You know, we did a poll to find out what people want. We found out. So what are we going to do? They didn't give us the answer we want, so meh. I don't think so. No, it doesn't work that way. I have the same opinion as Mr. Keating. Everyone I've talked to likes it the old way better. We have people who actually see it every day telling us it was better the old way. We have 1,937 people in our survey telling us they wanted it the same way, back to the old way. So I guess what we have to ask ourselves is, are we conduits of the people we represent? Or do we ask people what they think but go, that's nice, but we know better? And I think that's nice, but we know better is what got us the current configuration. And if we do it again, we're going to be telling the people, theoretically we represent you, but it's a little smidge of autocracy in the sense that we're going to decide for you. We know what's best. We're smarter than you. That's not what I think. And I'll tell you, in my line of work, I talk to juries. And I'll be darned if they don't tend to always get it right, sometimes in ways that surprise me. And I would say that we need to listen to the people, because that's what we're here to do. We messed it up once, let's don't do it again.
Perfect. Any other general thoughts? Mr. Stein?
Yeah, I think the biggest problem by far with this is the fact it's not curb parking. That is 1,000% the main problem, is the fact that you don't park next to the curb, that you park in what used to be a travel lane. Right behind us is 8th Street. It's 2 lanes, and you park on the curb, and no one says a word. No one's like, oh man, I really wish that was 3 lanes. Because that's the way it is, and then it's normal. If you look at all the other places, because when these issues bubble up, then you pay a little bit more attention to how the design of the city is. Every other single place in this city that has a bike lane has curb parking, and then has a travel bike lane inside of that next to a driving lane. So the suggestion, which I'm in favor of, is just to make Main Street look the same as every other single solitary street, and go in that way. The second part I had was, maybe I didn't have a second part. That was it. That's just the main thing. You're just making it look the same as everywhere else. And it mitigates the issues. Thank you.
Can you do me a favor, Dan, and show the old configuration slide? So, that had a Shero, right?
Yes.
And did you say that the volume was 4,000?
4,000, 5,000 average vehicles per day.
So a technical question is does that meet bike lane standard for a Shero under those traffic volumes? I think Carl might want to.
Yeah, I think he
Carl's
have a better answer.
coming down.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Carl McNair, Transportation Manager with the Public Works Department. So there's no hard and fast standards of, you have to have a bike lane here, have to have a Shero here, but there's national guidance that gives you ranges on where certain things are appropriate. And for a 3-lane facility with the volumes we have and the speeds we have, the national guidance does not support a Shero.
Okay. So one of the things that I think we run into here, just a sec, I'm just going to make a comment, which is this, is the one thing that we forget is what it costs to go back to this previous configuration. I think that is worthwhile to consider into the mix, and it is very difficult for me to look at Main Street, look at the traffic volumes and say, of course that requires 3 lanes in one direction. That is a struggle for me. So I guess in the momentary time that maybe somebody's pulling into a spot or doing a drop-off, whatever vehicle, getting deliveries, when I look at what is the exact benefit that you're getting from 3 lanes versus 2 lanes and the money it costs, I would love to hear maybe some thoughts that take all that into consideration. Go ahead, Kevin.
All right.
John Quinn.
Just a couple of things. The people knew how much this was going to cost when they were deciding this. I mean, they know it's more expensive, and it's the people's money, and this is something that I think they're going to be happy with, and it's worth the money to me. We've talked a lot about speeds and higher speeds, but the speed limit is 20 miles an hour downtown. We keep forgetting that. I don't see any reason why the speeds would increase, legally anyway. I have.
Wait, are you advocating for another red light camera? Is that what I just heard?
No, I'm thinking of going down to 15 miles. No, just for the bikes. I have been, and I've noticed it more since this, but, there could be a truck there taking pallets off, going into the beer store, and then someone is parking on the other side, opening their door. I mean, it can be, I think 3 lanes is a whole lot better than 2. I really do. And again, if people are obeying the law, then it's not going to be an issue with speed. Did that answer your question?
No. Mr. Quinn? Mr. Mitten? Wait, real quick. Mitten, you had something you wanted to add?
Just a very quick timing clarification. We only recently confirmed with ODOT that we would be able to keep the grant money with option C. That was not known at the time of the survey. That was an unknown question at that survey. So that's just wanted
That the
to-
money, that the cost was not available at that time?
It was, on the survey, it was undetermined whether or not we'd have to return the grant. We only recently got confirmation from ODOT that option C would not require returning the grant.
But the people did know 100% it was $1 million to go back to 3 lanes?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Mr. Quinn?
I think Kevin hit the nail on the head. They knew what they were asking for. They knew how much it would cost. It's the people's money. And they said, we want it. So they said they wanted Rogue X and were willing to pay for it, so we gave it to them. They want this. It shouldn't be that hard. And if anything, by not knowing whether there was a repayment required for option 3, I think it would have looked cheaper then as at least a potential, and they still voted to spend the money. So I don't see it. I don't see if we follow what the people we represent want, give it to them.
Okay.
If we don't, then it's something different than I signed up for.
Nick, did you have something?
So I'm going to make all of Public Works collectively eye roll at me here, but I've been playing with Street Mix, and I think, yeah, thanks. So, I mean, to be honest, like one of the things that would really convince me of going to a 2-lane with bike option is if we could get more parking out of Main Street. And I think when I think back to like what I've heard from the public, a lot of frustration that I hear with Main Street feels like it's centered around a lack of parking. I mean, I understand the math in terms of how many parking spaces the old system versus, I mean, the current configuration versus the previous configuration. But I feel like those are things that, like, as a community, I hear that desire for more parking. And so if there's a way that we could figure out how to get more parking out of this, I think that would be a way for us to find a balance. I mean, I know we've looked at that, again, the Q, eye roll, otherwise I kind of have to agree with what John and Kevin are saying in that, like, for me, like, I do see the benefits of the buffered bike lane. I don't think my job as a representative is to just simply parrot what people are saying. I feel like my job as a representative is to become educated about the issues and use that education and the time that I'm focused on this to be able to make a best decision, taking into account the concerns of the public. And so I think there is a degree of filtering and processing that goes through this that is not authoritarian, but is about providing the community with a level of engagement that they cannot provide because they have their own lives and they're busy doing other things, and they're trusting us to do that on their behalf. I think in this case, though, it's like we've done a lot of direct engagement with the public, and they've taken the time to look at this, and they've taken the time to give us their feedback. And so that's sort of where for me to really pull the trigger on the option 3 is really, I just don't feel like I've been convinced that is really something that would serve the constituents of Medford that I represent better than returning to the previous configuration with all the other variables that go into that.
Okay. Curlinger, before I get to you, did you have anything you wanted to add at all at this point? And you're fine? I can go. Okay. Zach, are you fine, or do you need to comment?
I'll go out there, yeah.
Okay.
So I strongly oppose having 3 lanes on Main Street. I grew up with that configuration. I don't think it worked. I constantly saw people speeding at excessive speeds on Main Street, and I don't think returning to that kind of system would be healthy for our community. When I was a kid, growing up in Medford, you know, I was on the east side of town. I had friends on the west side of town. We'd ride our bikes everywhere, but we were never allowed to meet up because the way to do so would be down McAndrews on our bikes, down Jackson Street on our bikes, or down a 3-lane mega road called Main Street on our bikes, none of which our mothers would allow us to go down. That's insane. And so growing up in Medford, you had East Side kids and you had West Side kids, and they were never allowed to really integrate. And I think that was, that's what it was. That's bad. That's a bad way to structure a city. And so I'm strongly in favor of having bike lanes in our city and having buffered bike lanes in our city. I don't like having cyclists in the road as a driver. I don't like it. I have to slow down a lot, Nick. And sometimes I have to get out of the way and I have to go in a different lane, try and go around them. I like it when they're in their own space and I can see them on the right-hand side, and I know I'm not going to hit them. That, as a driver, makes me feel good. So a lot of you seem to have spoken to people who are very much in favor of going back to the way Main Street was, and I certainly believe you. I have spoken to many people, mostly young people, who are appalled that we're having the conversation about taking bike lanes, buffered bike lanes off Main Street. And I certainly believe that someone should represent their voice and their interest on the council. And so, again, I'm strongly in favor of buffered bike lanes wherever we can reasonably put them in the city. And I want them on Main Street, and I think that'll improve our town and it'll improve our businesses. So thank you.
Okay. Technical question, Carl, do you happen to know before and after average speed down Main Street?
Yes, we do have that. I don't have it off the top of my head, so.
Nick, do you have it off the top of your head?
I don't know the numbers, but it did drop, and I want to say it dropped somewhere around 3 or 4 miles per hour, but that's just off of the top of my head.
Was that due to the reduction in speed limit, though, also?
The reality is, when it comes to speed, changing the speed signs generally doesn't change speed as much as changing the road conditions.
Well,
Like, people drive the way that the road feels. They do not drive the way the speed limit sign says. Like, I wish it were not that case, but that's the way it is.
I'll just, let me ask this question then. Were the signals more or less timed for 20 miles an hour though before?
The signals have been retimed, but before they were retimed, we did the speed checks, and they dropped, depending on where you were on Main Street, 1 to 4 miles an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would just add that regarding that comment from Mr. Card, a basic fundamental principle of traffic engineering that is very well accepted and has been proven time and time again is people drive the speed that they feel comfortable. And one of the reasons the speed went down on Main Street is because it was narrow and they felt pinched. If you put it back at 3 lanes, I guarantee you speeds will come up. It'll stay at 20 miles an hour because it's been 20 miles an hour for a lot of years. Speeds will go up, guaranteed. It's one of those fundamental principles. People drive the speed they feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm. And I add one more thing on speed. One thing we did saw, so the 1 to 4 was like what we call the 85th percentile speed, which is 85% of the cars are driving at that speed or less. But we did see a larger reduction in the kind of the top speeds that people were driving on there. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but
Okay.
that was one thing.
That's fair. All right, Zach.
Well, after coming here, I had my mind set up, but I don't have much to say. But besides that, I think I am against option 3 now and more leaning towards going to the way it was.
And I guess as a general comment, what we've done is we've done outreach. We've considered what it's going to cost the city to do this. That we're aware that there was a reduction in speed, but we're not that concerned about it going back up. Or no, actually, that's just sort of it. But those are all been considered and talked about and brought up at this point. There still will be, at the end of this, a bike lane on Main Street. It'll just be a Sharrow if you went back to previous configuration. One of the issues I think happened is I was on council when this went through. And there was actually a very driving thought in my head was the merchants wanted some way to try to slow people down on Main Street. We continue, I have at least some of the, what I've read that we've gotten for written comments is this is very inconvenient when I'm going to someplace else but downtown. And in other words, I need to get through downtown as fast as possible to get where I really want. And that is a little bit of a frustrating idea. But long story short is we probably picked the wrong idea to start with. We should have dipped our toe a little bit with the option 3. Public may be a little bit spooked right now on our decision making, And maybe that's why you end up back at square one and you pay $1 million for it. Maybe that's where we're at. Mike Curlinger. And then we should be getting close to a motion, I think.
I want to make, so a couple comments about this is the people's money, like they said that this is what they want. The people who want it the way it is and the people who want any option other than the way it was, it's also their money. So to echo Garrett's comment, roughly 2,000 people in writing in a city of 85,000 said that's what they want. In other roles I've had, I have very frequently voted against my personal opinion on things because I understand I'm filling different roles. What I think isn't always necessarily what is appropriate for me to do in that role. So I don't want the impression that simply I think option 3 is groovy, so that's what I want and I'm going for it. I've had a lot of conversations with people to make sure I'm not enforcing my will on people who are going to hate it. And I was only being partially sarcastic when I say a third of the people are going to be pissed at us no matter what. I just want to throw that out there. We're representing multiple different people who have differing opinions, so no one's ever going to be happy. Another concern I have is if we go back to the 3-lane Sharrow and we ever, in the memory of anyone in this room, decide it would make sense to put a bike lane in downtown, that council will get crucified for re-spending money all over again. So if we go back to option 3, we are saying we feel that in no time in the foreseeable future should there ever be a bike lane in downtown Medford, and we should never take traffic mitigating measures in downtown. Because as annoying as this was, I've been sitting on the fact that I wasn't on council and we changed it. I can't get away with that after tonight. If we make a change, then we just change it right back to the way it was. If we ever think something should be modified on Main Street again, it's going to be hell to convince anyone that that should be doable.
Kevin?
Can I see the option 3, please? There's another one.
That's not what we're proposing now.
That one.
That's what we're proposing.
That's the one, yeah. So, oh, and also, thank you to staff. So I brought up during the last time we talked about it that I wanted to see a buffer on the left-hand side. So one of the complaints that we've heard is, well, when I open my car door, there's a driving lane. That was actually always there. There was always, if you parked in the left-hand side, you were always, if you're opening your passenger side, you're always, whatever configuration, the current one and the previous one, you're always opening your car door directly into traffic. So this one actually protects those people that are on the passenger side opening their door, because now there is some gap, a 3-foot gap between yourself opening a door and a driving lane. Plus, again, the previous configuration on the right-hand side also gives you a gap between opening your door and, oncoming traffic. So as far as parking, getting out of your car, this is by far the best option because you have gaps on all sides, protecting people getting out of their vehicle. Some people might not be as agile as others, so this provides a safer route for people that are parking, going to all those downtown businesses that we keep talking about, to get out and do their business. So I just wanted to point that part out. I look at this and I see a road that looks like literally the rest of Medford, because we don't see our current configuration anywhere else. You don't see it. You don't see a lot of 3 lanes. You do see it on Riverside, but you don't see a whole lot of whatever we're doing. I don't know, when I look at this, why there needs to be another travel lane, because these are the options that we're down to, right? How is it, maybe someone can explain to me, how is it that you can look at this configuration on the screen in front of you and be like, you know what, I want to make sure that there is traffic going right next to people opening their doors. I want to make sure that a bicycle is traveling somewhere on the road, competing with cars. So this is what I see as a logistical method that makes perfect sense for people parking their cars, for people driving their cars, and people that want to bike. Thank you.
Okay, we have a little conference over there, but I think we're about time for a motion.
I move we return to the original configuration of Main Street.
Second.
So moved by Mr. Keating, seconded by Mr. Quinn. Clearly, we've had a lot of discussion already, but if you have anything you want to add to your motion, or to speak to your motion, or if you think that everything's been covered.
I think I'm fine.
Okay.
And just as a reminder, everyone, can we please be sure to use our microphones for people watching remotely?
Second.
Gotcha.
And I said I think we're fine, but I just wanted to add, nighttime, rainy times, cold, snow, the bike lane's not going to be used, but the traffic lane would.
Perfect. Okay, Winnie, will you call the roll?
Kevin Keating. John Quinn.
Yes.
Mike
Yes.
Curlinger. Sorry.
My bad.
Mike Curlinger.
No.
Oh, sorry. Zach Smith.
Yes.
Kevin Stein.
No.
Garrett West.
No.
Nick Card.
Yes.
And Jessica Ayers.
No.
Okay. That's the end of our meeting. Thank you all for coming. Clearly, there's a tie-breaking vote to be made here. There's a split council. The issue with this is a few. I think that in general, I have said this multiple times. I cannot see how 3 lanes make sense in Main Street. And this version of the bike lane would be, to me, make the most sense. But then we have the big problem of what people in the community have been saying. Now, I have no doubt in my mind that multiple people will come back and say, if you revert back to the original, maybe you're kind of turning your back on what's a more reasonable, pragmatic, forward-looking community. The issue that really it comes down to me is maybe we've lost a little bit of confidence in the people by kind of getting a little too aggressive to start with. I would normally not want to go this direction, but I think the fact that we can't decide on this means maybe that this is a time to just go back and make things simpler. And so for that, I will vote to revert back to the original configuration.
Mr. Mayor, I think you probably need to say yes or no to the motion.
That would be yes. We are on to item 90.1.
90.1 is Council Bill 2026-08, an ordinance approving an amendment to the Medford Comprehensive Plan, revising the adopted urbanization plan for Planning Unit MD2B and the neighborhood element of the comprehensive plan for 10 tax lots totaling approximately 225 acres located south of East Vilas Road and east of Crater Lake Avenue and Crater Lake Highway. The purpose of the amendment is to relocate the Collector Street classification from Burrowcrest Drive to Kingsley Drive at Crater Lake Highway, relocate the wetlands and open space areas, and relocate the commercial and service commercial glut map designation areas, which are based on street configurations and wetland mitigation areas. This is land use legislative. Mayor, your microphone.
Well, that that was.
It's the meeting's over, that's why.
Before beginning the public hearing, I'd like to remind everyone that the rules of decorum previously outlined are still applicable. Violation of the decorum policy may result in your removal from chambers. This is a land use legislative hearing. If you would like to speak to this hearing, please complete a blue public comment form to be called forward. Comments for administrative or legislative hearings are limited to 4 minutes per individual, group, or organization. May we have staff report, please?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor, and good evening, councilors. I'm Kelly Aiken with your Planning Department, your 20-year anniversary employee tonight. You're starting in with me today. I started when I was 15. So this is the staff report for the urbanization plan revision for MD2B, and I want to note Clark Stevens joins us in the audience this evening. This is a type 4 legislative amendment. The Planning Commission did forward a favorable recommendation to you at their December 11th hearing, and the City Council is the approving authority under the code. MD2B is one of the expansion areas. We're located south of Vilas Road and east of Clear Lake Avenue and Highway. So what's before you this evening is 3 simple steps to amend an urbanization plan that was approved in 2022. The plan is to relocate the Collector Street classification from Burrellcrest Drive to Kingsley Drive, which is a little bit to the north. Adjust wetland and open space areas from the adopted urbanization plan, and then we're going to mix up the service commercial and commercial general land use plan map designations. And I'm going to talk a little bit about some background, and then I'll get on with the changes a little bit. The approval criteria are found in sections 4 and 5 of the urbanization planning chapter of the neighborhood element of the comprehensive plan. The urbanization plan has to be found substantially consistent with 14 the listed items under plan contents, which include RPS density requirements, neighborhood circulation plans, and open space allocations. The plan must also meet one of the 3 items under the general land use plan amendments and determine that they're either minor, moderate, or complex spatial adjustments. The one before you this evening is minor. The approval criteria have been addressed, of course, in your staff report. The proposal does include reconfiguring the commercial and service commercial GLUP map designations, and the mix has been adjusted just a little bit. So for the review, we found that the approval criteria in sections 5 and 6 have been satisfied. This is the approved urbanization plan. The City Council approved the urban growth boundary amendment back in 2016. It's been a decade-long process. The expansion was approved by the county in 2017 and acknowledged by the state in 2018, added just a little over 1,600 acres to the urban growth boundary. In 2022, the City Council approved the urbanization plan that's before you on the screen for MD2B. It contains about 225 acres and has a mix of commercial, service commercial, high density, and single-family GLUP map designations. This particular planning unit is required to provide a minimum of 11% open space, which is about 25 acres or so, and about 550 dwelling units. So since the plan was adopted in 2022, your Planning Commission has been pretty busy. They have approved all the colors that don't have trees on them. So phases 1, 2, 3, and 4 for Skyview Estates. On the south, phases 1, 2, and 3, we've also seen subdivisions down there that include about 112 single-family units. And then the Planning Commission just approved the zone change on the north end, the SFR 6 and the SFR 10 at their December meeting, at the same meeting that they forwarded a recommendation to you. Let's see, so the land divisions that we've seen are consistent. Their development patterns are pretty consistent with the plan that's on the screen here before you. And we are keeping track of that and make sure that all those commitments that were made during the urbanization planning process during RPS are being adhered to. So with all that background, as I mentioned, the applicant's proposing 3 different changes. First, I'm going to talk about the street classification. The proposal is to move the minor collector designation from Burrellcrest north to Kingsley Drive. So on the left side of your screen is the red line is where the classification, the minor collector class, is currently on Burlcrest, and the yellow is where it would be for Kingsley, and conversely, the proposed location on Kingsley on the right side of your screen with a blue dash showing where it currently is. I wanted to note that both end up in the same place on the easterly boundary. On the north side of that Burlcrest/Kingsley alignment is a school site. So it's important that that higher order street end up in that location. And why in the world are they doing that? You might want to know.
We have a quick question for you, Kelly.
Yes, sir.
One quick thing for a point of clarification, because I was confused when I read this.
Oh, sorry.
Burlcrest and Kingsley
Yes.
don't exist other than dirt roads right now.
They don't exist on the east side at all, and they're a little sketch on the west side.
Okay, I was trying to imagine, I was like, where are these roads? Now I know why I couldn't imagine them. Thank you.
So there is a little bit of asphalt out there, and our friends at Google were kind enough to provide these pictures for me. On the top is, on the west side of the highway is Burlcrest looking east, and on the bottom is Kingsley also looking east. So if you'll notice, I'll get my handy-dandy mouse out here. You can see the guardrail, so there's a little bit of topography. So if you consider how tall the regular pickup is, there's about 15 feet of grade difference between where Burlcrest would cut across the highway and the avenue versus we have the similar guardrail reference and also a similar pickup reference. Thanks, Google. So you can see just the grade differences. So a couple reasons. Really, it's a topographic constraint. Be much simpler construction and a better intersection without having to deal with those the grade differences there. Also, as I understand it, the future signalization of Kingsley would be more appropriate than at Burlcrest just because of intersection spacing. All right, next we're going to talk about the wetlands. The city adopted a local wetland inventory for the expansion areas as part of the UGB expansion process back in 2018. The inventory did identify wetlands in this planning unit. The applicant did make the effort to have those wetlands delineated in 2020. The Department of State Lands has a shelf life for their approvals, and it's a 5-year approval, so that expired last August. So they're going through the effort now of have reapplied back to the state, so we're waiting to see the status of that. The wetlands have been adjusted, and the open space around them, of course, also needs to be adjusted as appropriate. And just like the other obligations under the plan, planning staff, we continue to keep track of those as we move through the development process. The other, and kind of related to the wetlands, is the other open space adjustment. This on the screen is the approved tentative plat for Phase 3. It's at the very southeasterly corner of the planning unit. And I'll show you in just a second. On the next slide, it has, you can see the topography. It's quite steep there. So the adjustment there was to increase the open space there. That particular tract is a little over 11 acres. The original plan called for 11% open space, and as we're calculating right now, we're about 12. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that. And this is the existing and proposed urbanization plan. So I mentioned the slope. The closer the lines, the steeper the land. So it's pretty steep down there. That's why it's open space. For general land use plan map designations, commercial, service commercial, urban high density, and urban residential, the applicant's proposing to move the boundaries around. You can see the pink and the red, the commercial and service commercial moved around quite a bit. There is a little bit, about 5 acres more of the urban residential land than that was taken from the commercial and service commercial. It's kind of a balancing act. And that's that minor spatial adjustment. And then finally, the applicant committed to using 18.7 acres of the urban residential land for middle housing, using SFR 6 zoning and townhouse style development, all 8 acres of urban high-density land to the MFR 20 zone, which allows 15 to 20 units to the gross acre, and 11.7 acres of the commercial land to the MFR 30 standards. So using these commitments, the project will result in a minimum of 620 units in the residential lands, and that exceeds the minimum requirement of 559. I am very sleepy, I'm sorry. It's been a long day. With that, the Planning Commission and staff do recommend approval, and I'm happy to take your questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Well done.
Excellent, thank you.
At this point, I will open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on the subject, please come forward as called, with special privileges given to the applicant and/or their agent.
Thank you, Your Honor, Counsel. For the record, my name's Clark Stevens with Richard Stevens and Associates. We're here this evening representing Mr. Tim Hyatt with Coker Butte Medford LLC in this urbanization plan amendment. Ms. Aiken has stolen my thunder. She's outlined thoroughly of the proposal before you, the realignment of the minor collector street from Burrellcrest to Kingsley, the open space requirements, and then shifting the commercial lands. And if we can go back to one of those slides, the commercial lands were kind of split up, and you can see on the left that we had both commercial and service commercial there on the right-hand side. That's the school site, and it just made more sense to keep the same designation versus 2 separate zones for a single piece of property. So a lot of it was just to consolidate some of these areas, and the minor adjustments was due to the road configurations and the minor changes in areas based on that. So as you move Burrellcrest to Kingsley, those percentages are going to change very slightly, and that's why we got, some minor modifications with that. With that, both the Planning Commission and staff are recommending approval of this proposal, and we support that recommendation. I'll be happy to answer any further questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the applicant? Mr. Quinn.
Mark, it's nice to see you. How are you?
I'm doing well, and
Yeah.
Congratulations to your new position.
Oh, thank you. You're very kind. I think I saw you about this when I was on planning. I'm sure you, at some point. I don't have any problem with moving the road. That's fine. Could you just go back over what, if any, impact this is going to have on the wetlands situation that's on the property? I would appreciate knowing your thoughts on that.
Right. The wetlands, right. So the wetlands there, they're going to be, towards, let's say, where's the mouse here? This area right in here, these are going to be mitigated and consolidated back up into this area here. This main channel is going to be somewhat preserved and enhanced, and basically a lot of the mitigation areas are going to be relocated here to basically have an equal trade. So we can't eliminate wetlands. We either have to mitigate it or relocate it, based on the delineation. So there was a previous delineation approved. What we have now pending at DSL is a delineation and a mitigation for those wetlands. So this is strictly a statewide review and approval, and we have to abide by their rules.
I'm trying to remember if this is the property that I'm thinking of or maybe not, but was there ever a discussion about, rather than mitigating the part of the wetlands here, to buy compensating wetlands in a different site? You can do that. Am I thinking of the wrong property?
We have not considered that on this site, but you're correct. That is available, that we can purchase wetland credits at a wetland bank. But we've got plenty of area. It's utilizing it as part of the open space, so like to try to keep some natural components there.
I understand they're putting in wetland ATMs, so it'll be easier. I was thinking of a different property, but I was just concerned about this. I'm sure the state will make sure that as you rejigger things, it'll be equivalent.
Absolutely. We have to abide by their regulations.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Real quick, same map. I've heard what you guys were just talking about, but I was curious. They look like pretty big ponds. And did you mean to say you're going to recreate the pond when you say wetlands?
Correct. That's part of the mitigation process. But they are irrigation ponds.
Oh.
And, you know, they are man-made.
Okay.
However, due to time and, you know, ecology, they do convert to a wetlands, and before you know it, they're regulation, and, you know, we have to mitigate it.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Other questions? All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Did anyone fill out a comment card for tonight? No? Anybody want to come down and talk about this? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Is there a motion? Mr. Card?
Move to approve Council Bill 2026-08.
Second.
All right, moved and seconded by Jessica Ayers, correct?
I think that's my name.
Yep. Need to discuss or speak to your motion, Mr. Card?
Everything appears to
routine.
be addressed. Everything's good. Vote yes.
There we
Yay.
go. Any other discussion? Winnie, will you call the roll?
Nick Card.
Yes.
Jessica Ayers.
Yes.
Kevin Stein.
Yes.
John Quinn.
Yes.
Garrett West.
I abstain.
Zach Smith.
Yes.
Mike Curlinger.
Yes.
And Kevin Keating.
Yes.
We have 7 yes and 1 abstention.
All right, that motion passes. We're on to council business. There are no proclamations issued for tonight's meeting. For committee reports and communications, Jessica Ayers, President.
Yeah, thanks. Council officers update. So okay, I'll come back to you, Mayor. Second thing, council liaisons. I think everybody largely got back to me, so we got most of it ironed out, but there's a couple things that I need to follow up on that I'll do in the next couple days. We've got 3 applications for planning commission now. And so Winnie's gonna schedule our next interview panel, which we're gonna shoot for a Thursday. So watch for that coming out. Councilor West brought up the concept of labeling the wards with something other than numbers for transparency and less confusion. And so I believe Mr. Mitten's going to look into some legality on that. We talked about RVACT's transportation project priorities. Councilor Card is going to be representing the city to prioritize 2026 projects with a focus on keeping transportation projects that are important to us top of mind, even if the funding is not likely. Some of these projects are things like South Stage, the I-5 Viaduct, 99 improvements and such. We talked about a potential legislative change with the gas tax 50-30-20 split. There's some momentum being gained to do away with that. And so we talked about drafting a letter, supportive letters. Discussions are happening with our lobbyist as people believe that this would be disastrous to our communities if we lost that funding. So more to come on that. And then, yes?
I think we need to give a thumbs up to staff.
Oh,
to
that's
proceed.
correct. Yeah, that's what you're looking for, correct?
Correct. We're just looking for council concurrence that we can oppose any legislative potential change to the 50-30-20 split for transportation funding. And for those that aren't there, Basically, the state highway fund is collected, ODOT takes that money, splits it 50% to ODOT, 30% to counties, and 20% to cities, and there's a move right now to basically say local government gets none, and ODOT gets it all, and that would be bad, and so we are just seeking your concurrence that we can lobby against that.
Does anyone have any questions on this, or are we good to proceed?
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor West. Mayor, we also discussed your Medford Water Commission appointment. Would you like to address that now?
Yeah, there were 3 applications for the Medford Water Commission, and I guess before we get into that, this is for replacing outgoing Commissioner Bob Strasser, and it's not, has to be noted, I believe he has 9 years on the Water Commission, but also, and we're only looking at, let's call it elected/appointed office in Medford. I think it's 16 years on council. 4 years as a county commissioner, plus the 9 years at the Water Commission. Clearly, just a man committed to the community, and we thank him so much for all his service in the past. We had 3 applicants for this. They all brought a different perspective, and to be honest, all 3 were certainly qualified. I think in this case, Brian's, with such a long-standing city proponents coming off. Brian's got quite the background in beyond just city management itself, but specifically utility management. And I think it would be a very helpful addition to the board. So I'm essentially looking for the council to follow the example motion and based on that I am appointing Brian Shotun to the Medford Water Commission for a 5-year term beginning February 1st, 2026 and ending January 31st, 2031.
So moved.
Second.
We can consider that a council motion as well?
Yeah,
Kevin
that
made
that
the
was the
motion.
so moved part.
Okay, there we go.
You probably can call for a voice, do we need a roll call vote? You can probably do this with a voice vote. Mr. Mayor, it's your
Okay,
meeting.
so I'm in charge of my, yes, of course. All in favor with this, simply signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Brian Shotun is thereby appointed to Medford Water Commission.
Thank you. Okay, back to me. I'm going to go back and revisit the council liaison appointments. There was a list in your packet of the changes made this far. I need to make one more, and that's just putting myself as alternate on the Chamber of Commerce. So we will consider this done at that point. If anybody has any concerns,
I believe council liaisons.
do we need a motion?
I believe we traditionally just accept it as is. So I move to accept liaisons as provided in the packet with the amendment that Jessica will serve as the alternate for the Chamber of Commerce.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Cool. Okay. Now let's go on to any committee reports.
We had the
What else did I forget?
with the HCDC member. I can address that right now.
Why don't you address that right now?
Staff approached council officers today about a member of the HCDC Commission who is an at-large member, that's the Housing and Community Development Commission, who has not attended since August and is no longer responding to communications from city staff. He's chronically absent. And because of that, staff have requested that we remove him from the commission. And as a result, I move to remove Joseph Sanchez from the Housing and Community Development Commission, effective immediately.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. West. Now, do we have any commission or committee reports that anyone would like to share? Mr. Smith?
Well, it's the Police Advisory Committee. Great meeting. The best one out there. Talked about overall complaints through the year. They were saying, considering 120 sworn officers, I believe it was 50 complaints for the whole year. Was considerably a good number for relatively how many we have. And then there was a presentation from Ethos, the company in Phoenix. Great presentation. You guys very passionate. We just kind of went through the presentation on who they are, and then he invited all of us, and you guys are all invited to his event on April 11th. More details to follow.
Mr. Curlier?
This wasn't a board or a commission, but Nick and I showed up for the unveiling of a sweet new credit counseling. Oh God, Bill's gonna kill me. Help me.
Consumer credit
Consumer
counseling.
credit
Counseling
counseling
service.
ad that gave a shout out to City of Medford for their support. So there's a giant billboard out there on the side of RBTD bus, and he does fantastic work. And Mr. Keating, Mr. Quinn, and myself got to go to the opening night of the Medford Police Department Citizens Academy, tour the jail, get put in no, not that part. It was really good. It was really cool to actually see some behind the scenes stuff that even I hadn't seen, and I'm looking forward to going back tomorrow because they'll have dogs there.
Yes.
I attended the Vision Implementation Committee meeting. To just echo that, Bill gave us an update at that meeting about the good work that the money's doing to go towards the grant. Already, he is off and running. I can't remember the exact number. I wish I would have noted it down, but we are flying through helping people with this application. This continues to be a really awesome program, so that's exciting. I thought you were going to say something. No. So as far as Vic is concerned, Vic is in the final stages of providing us with an update on the 2040 plan. So it's a little delayed, but we are going to get that. And so at our next meeting, Vic, which will be in February, we will have all of the final feedback and be able to provide an updated plan, which will be all of the items, including a status as far as we have identified them. There are a few changes that we're recommending to council to adopt. And so with that new plan, that's going to begin sort of the process of hopefully more consistent and regular updates to council about the status of the different items that Vic is watching in the 2040 plan.
Great, thank you. Councilor Stein?
I went to the Travel Medford Tourism Council meeting earlier today. Big thing for city councilors is next week there will be the American Cornhole Organization is holding an event the 30th and 31st, and what they're doing on the 29th is they invited a number of elected officials and community members. I think there's a police chief, a fire chief, many other people that will be part of the Pro-Am, what is the day before. So a number of us will be matched up with a professional cornhole player, and I'm hoping I do not get in the same bracket as Mr. Curlinger, so maybe I can get out of the first round because I was unsuccessful last time. But we will see. Good time had by all. Thank you.
Are you good at this?
Depends on how much I've had to drink.
Okay. What would you like to
Aren't
say?
7 of the 8 counselors going? Who's the one holdout? Can we pressure them into changing their mind? Come on, Nikki.
I'm actually not going to be able to attend. I was originally going to be there, but I have other conflicts, so I'm no longer going to be able to
So
attend
everyone
next
else,
week.
is everyone else going to be there? Quinn, are you going to be there?
Maybe.
You're in or you're out, buddy. Okay. Anyone else?
I got one real quick one. Today, myself and Garrett West and John and Debbie and Warren were at the Pipeline for Progress, kind of a medical community meeting to see what we can do to increase the number of physicians and NPs and PAs. So lots of good ideas batted around, but what struck me was a lot of effort towards bringing in high schoolers and even middle schoolers. Having kind of a pipeline, as they said, to bring them up in hopes that they'll become medical people. So,
Thanks for sharing.
Let's see, I think it was this weekend. I've been in too many meetings. The mayor, Mr. Stein, and myself, and Mr. Weil attended Senator Merkley's town hall and got a VIP experience where we got a few minutes to talk with him. And he was very gracious, as well as his staff, to allow that. And I want to emphasize how important it is that the city of Medford continue to have face-to-face interactions with our federal officials to ensure that in the future we're able to get sufficient resources for our community. Today, I attended the Medford Water Commission meeting. I attended this study session first, where there is a discussion that's beginning about reanalyzing the equations for cost of service to partner cities. That was a big conversation about a decade ago, and so they're now revisiting that to make sure the cost allocations are equitable. So that's going to be a long process. I do want to call out the cities of Eagle Point and Central Point and thank them for having the mayor of Eagle Point attended today, as well as a city councilor. And then for Central Point, we had a city councilor and Chris Clayton, the city manager, attend. And it's very important that our sister cities have representation at the Water Commission. So thank you to them. And then the Water Commission passed a resolution authorizing funds to be allocated for new financial and HR software in the coming 5 years, which will be a significant cost for software conversion. So thank you.
Okay, last call. All right, back to you, Mayor.
Just, how much does a software system cost? Just curious.
It's going to cost probably 2.5 million for the whole, it's a public utility. There's a lot of moving parts, and it does finance and HR. I'm not quite sure how that works, but that's what they say.
Okay. Thank you very much. Let's see, Mr. Val, you got anything extra?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Super. We have Mira after this?
We study session and regular meeting.
What? Oh my gosh. That's a lot of city for one night. I'm excited. So with that said, anything else for the good of the order?
I'll just say that we're gaveling in at 8:20 or 8:36. So be back.
You fill out our restaurant options now, or all these things in here?
You're what now?
Our restaurant option.
We're good. All right. We're adjourned at 8:26. Thank you all. No. No.
8:36, it is a study session, so I'll not be gaveling this into order, but I will be turning it over to Harry to begin the study session.
Thank you, Mr. Stein. Good evening, board members. I just have a very brief introduction. I believe all but two of you were here in the December meeting when we discussed the Children's Museum request for funding. So where things stand is that the board committed $1.5 million for the construction of addition to the Children's Museum facility at the Carnegie Library across the street. And the proposed addition was intended to expand space for a variety of ongoing programs offered by the Children's Museum. So in the intervening weeks since that decision was approved, Children's Museum has identified an alternative strategy that gives them an opportunity to pursue a more efficient delivery of the programs that they wanted to house in this proposed addition. They have contracted for the acquisition of the former Mail Tribune office at 111 North Fur and are seeking to incorporate that into their facility planning. They are here this evening to speak to the board about your all's consideration for reallocating the $1.5 million to support this new strategy. We did prepare a grant agreement that has not been executed based on the original plan for the addition. So if, depending on the direction that you give tonight, a future action would be to probably rescind that and replace it with something else, or whatever direction that you all give for that. So I will now hand it over to Sunny Spicer, and there are a number of her board of directors who are here this evening to bring you up to date about the new proposal.
Thank you.
Right-hand button to advance.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you again. And again, apologies, but something really exciting came up, so here we are. And I want to take a second to introduce, I have a substantial portion of our board here tonight, and our board chair, Dr. Alicia Welder, will be doing a portion of this presentation. So we have here tonight Andy Botzer, who's been a very long time member of our board, Mindy Folsom, also a longtime member of our board, Amanda Olson, and Alicia Welder, who will be joining us shortly, and Maggie Mayers. And so I thought, you guys don't always want to just hear from me, and so this is a chance for you to see some other faces. And so we'd been working on this project for a very long time, I mean literally years, and there was some different discussion that came about after our last meeting, and the Mail Tribune building came on the market, and on a whim, we decided to go look at that. And given that the proximity to the museum and the price tag on that, we looked at that and decided we would be able to do everything that we laid out with our initial program, and then some, and it would be even more cost effective. And just for some clarity, assuming everything goes well and we're able to pull all this together with our proposal to you guys, we don't intend to also do the addition. This would be instead of the addition. And so I'll have Alicia come join us here.
Thank you. Again, I'm Alicia Welder. I'm an ER physician here in the Rogue Valley, and I'm also the board president. I've been on the board for a number of years and was part of the transition from our previous location to the current Carnegie Library, and I'm really privileged to be part of this new transition into our next phase of growth. So thank you for hearing us this evening. We, as Sunny had said, had initially intended to expand on the current footprint of the Carnegie Library, and a lot of programming that would go into that would be really substantial in terms of contributing to the community. However, this opportunity came up with the former Mail Tribune building, and we're really excited about the opportunities that come with that. So like anything in life, sometimes you get handed something and it's bigger than you could have dreamed or visioned. And for this particular opportunity, what it will allow us to bring to the community is really just amazing to think about. Do I click this button? Right-hand button. Okay, thank you. So we're moving from expansion on the current Carnegie footprint to a two-building approach in our visioning. And what that allows us to do is actually focus all of the museum effort within the Carnegie building outside of one preschool classroom and move a lot of other opportunities over to the Mail Tribune building, really creating a more spread campus that will allow us to grow in a bigger capacity. So, and first point around that is we have a really beautiful early learning program as a healthcare worker in the area. A lot of my colleagues take advantage of that. It's a top tier program and it allows extended hours for individuals who need that. And so it's a great, oh, thank you. Look at that. Very nice. So we currently, in the proposal we gave previously, would expand to 6 classrooms. With this new opportunity, we would be able to expand to 9 classrooms. So we would be able to then serve 180 children, which is a pretty big increase from what we had previously projected. Additionally, we would then be able to use funding to help finish up improvements in the infrastructure at the current Carnegie location. That would then be more dedicated museum space. We would move the clay and culinary studio under that one roof and have just one inclusive museum. That would allow us to then expand the outdoor space there to include museum for both outdoor spaces with the creation of additional outdoor green space over at the new location at the old Mail Tribune building. We've already expanded a lot of class space, and that addition we were planning was going to impact that in a bigger way. But with the movement from 1,300 square feet to 31,000 square feet as a potential opportunity, that gives us a substantial amount of space more to grow that programming. So we're thinking community class spaces, we're thinking workforce training, conference space, all of the things that we would want to be able to offer the community. So 9 additional classrooms, a large training facility, some sensory and therapy classrooms, and then additionally in the space already is a production studio, so it allows us to really expand our initial vision to include more community outreach and in community partnerships. We ourselves would then look into doing production for educational content, which could be shared with the school district and all sorts of other entities within the city, and then additionally partnering with other community agencies to use that space. And then the really cool part that I think we all are really excited about is that rooftop community space. It's something that would be really unique to this area. We have beautiful weather year round. It would be such a gem to have that in downtown Medford to offer to the community. We would be able to host events there. We could have music events there, festivals, any kind of activity that other community members or partnerships would like to use that space for. So that's a really cool opportunity that we'd be able to bring in a much bigger capacity in this new space. I already talked a little bit about expanding the outdoor play areas by including most of the preschool classrooming in the Mail Tribune space and creating outdoor green space there. That would allow us to open up a lot more of the outdoor space that's currently at the existing museum for more museum members to use and community members to use. And then always fun to talk about is parking, especially when we're talking about downtown, as fun as that is. So the really great benefit is that it allows us to decompress some of that traffic in the downtown area that's used for parking, because this comes with dedicated parking spaces that community members could use and museum members could use. So there's a lot of really great benefits that this shift in focus offers, and we're really excited about the opportunity. I know you have been so generous in supporting us along the way and in supporting our expansion on the current footprint that we had. This opportunity came along, and I think that the vision of what this can create in a long-term strategy is really just expansive and gives us so much more room to grow. So thank you, and I think Sunny's going to talk a little bit more about the economic pieces around that, and we'll go from there.
So the economic impact is a big piece of what we want to do and why it's important. So we're going to be adding more jobs. The fact that we are adding more square footage allows us to add even more. The workforce training space, we had initially planned in our original project to add something that would accommodate about 100 people. This would allow us to accommodate about 250 people. This wouldn't be just for our organization, it would be for others as well. There would be the flexible event spaces. The total total, I'm not an economist, so I'll explain this a little bit more in the next slide, but the total reoccurring economic impact is between 11.6 and 14.3 million, and that's in the retained labor force and the ongoing investments, then people coming in downtown, the childcare impact. And that's based on when we did our initial investment. We had SoReady and a state economist did an analysis on the initial $2 million that the state invested. And they came back with that it created 103 construction-related jobs. It invested $17.9 million into our economy just based on that initial construction project. The 41 jobs that it invested in the childcare growth, and that was 4 additional classrooms, and that's what we're going to be able to do with this project. And then 26 additional jobs with the Children's Museum and the community-based programs that we're doing. And again, that level of addition is about what we're going to be doing for this. So there's some actual economist backing to those numbers, not just me making them up. And so this also allows us to do a bit of a phased approach because we are doing the 2 buildings. We would look at getting the preschool moved over, hopefully pretty quickly and for the next school year, and then work on the Carnegie building as quickly as we can. But the thing to really, I think, emphasize here is that we would be able to do double the square footage, and the cost per square footage comes down 50%. So we're sticking with the same budget that we were working on initially. Even with the amount of money that we spent already on our design and development, accounting for that, we're still staying within the $8 million budget, acquiring the Mail Tribune building, doing all the renovation, doing the somewhat minimal renovation that we would need to do to the Carnegie. And one of the things I want to point out there is we delayed some of the investment on the Carnegie, thinking all along that we would be doing the addition. So those of you that have been long time familiar with the building, there's the back entrance or exit that's the 1950s metal stairway that's been needing replacement for a long time. So that would allow us to do some of those improvements that have been needed to be done for a while. But now, since we're not doing that addition, we could do that. So there's a lot that we can do there, but still stay within that same budget and have a bigger community impact. That's what I have for you, but I'm happy to answer questions. Board members are happy to answer questions. Thank you.
Real quick, so you said your timeline is under good conditions here, that you could have the Mail Tribune open as the new Oregon Center for Creative Learning center by the next school year, like August?
I'm hoping that we could have preschool classrooms done. I may be, a little high in that expectation. We were able to pretty quickly renovate the former Dutch Bros location over last summer and get that done and get the preschool classrooms open. So I'm banking on that same level of enthusiasm that we could do that.
I'm just, because I've been in the Mail Tribune building quite a few times, and I'm thinking about it. It's a lot of just like open space.
It is a lot of open space.
It's you get some offices, and it's a lot of open space that used to be cubicles, and then so I'm assuming based on that, it's not
putting
too
up some
difficult.
walls and some plumbing,
Yeah.
and then a lot of the rest of it is some fairly minimal renovation. Like we'll turn the dark room into the commercial kitchen to feed the kids. I mean, we would be repurposing a lot of the resources that are already there.
Interesting. Thank you. Any questions, Mr. Curlinger?
Yeah, I know you're still doing due diligence on the Mail Trib building. Is there anything really major you've identified there? I'm thinking specifically like seismic or foundational stuff that you're aware of.
It's a fairly new building. It was built in 1993.
How much, so it's 30,000 square feet-ish. How much of that do you anticipate using? Like remodels are done, you're moving in. Are you full on day one, or do you have room to grow in that space?
We have a lot of room to grow.
Okay. And you mentioned the training space. Like, do you currently have a need for that, or is this a future program you're envisioning starting?
Right now, we don't have a space that we can fit our staff members in and hold the training.
Sorry, I wrote down some questions. Do you know the capacity of the rooftop and whether or not it is currently in a condition to be used to full capacity, or if it needs?
So it's already a rooftop deck space. Do I know the capacity of it right now? No, I think it's
4,000 people.
yeah, no. I think it's 1,600 square feet. I'm guessing right that I've looked at the numbers, but I'm trying to recall. But it does have the ability to be expanded, and the way we plan to, I don't know how familiar you are with the building. The way it's set up is where it has executive offices, and so we're going to create that as a multi-use space that would be both for programs. So our preschool library is going to be integrated into that. And so it's going to be this beautiful library space where the kids use, but then it will also be a rentable event space. So we're going to make these spaces multi-purpose, but also something that can generate revenue and then turn around and pay for the programs that make them accessible to families.
But you can use it now. You're not aware of anything that would prevent you from safely using that space now?
No.
Okay. And then my last question is actually about the Carnegie. I have not been dealing with that project for nearly as long as you have, but I know some of the repairs that were going to get wrapped into the remodel, and there's a process there. With the plan you're putting forward with this two-phase project, will there be any outstanding necessary repairs remaining at the Carnegie building?
So
for
updates,
safety and capacity?
So updates to the HVAC, and then we would make some changes. Like we had initially put some additional walls in. So there's some things that we put in that we would then take out. So we made some changes to accommodate some classrooms. We would take some of that out again to make room for our culinary studio and clay studio. So the actual repairs, we've already done a lot of the repairs. This would be to more accommodate the clay studio and culinary studio. So some of that is already there. The actual repair pieces are on that exterior entrance exit area that has not been updated at all.
And those would be, this new approach you're talking about would include those?
Correct.
Last remaining. So in theory, everything goes perfectly, because we know that always happens. Like, Carnegie doesn't have any other safety or permitting concerns as this phase moves forward?
Not that I'm aware of, no. Because we've just recently gone through all that in the last couple of years.
That wasn't me assuming you had safety
Okay.
or permitting
Okay,
concerns.
yeah,
It's just
yeah.
not being familiar
Yeah.
with the history.
Other questions, Mr. Card?
Sonny, do you have a more detailed breakdown of how this particular money would be used? I mean, because you've talked a lot about a really awesome project, and I've always said I think what you guys do is really awesome. But when I'm thinking about how do we use Mira funds and ways that are compliant, there's certain things that you've identified here that to me feel more like Mira, and there are ones that are less. And so, would you be able to sort of provide us more of a hey, I want to use these Mira funds for X as opposed to just as a piece of a larger program?
So I can give you like kind of a balcony level view right now. We're looking at about $750,000-ish of updates on the Carnegie. Ideally, I'd rather not put the Mira funds on the Carnegie building, and the reason why is I'd rather not trigger a second prevailing wage project. We already have government funds that are going to be going into the Mail Tribune project, and so ideally, I'd rather not, but if that's, we can certainly have other discussions on what is preferable, and but yeah, I'd rather avoid having that happen twice.
Any other questions? Mr. Keating?
I know I've been critical of the addition to the Carnegie building, and I'm just really happy to see this happening. I think it's a great fit, so.
Okay, thank you.
Unexpected comment of the day.
Normally Kevin's so mean, and now he's being nice.
I just hate kids.
That's okay, Kevin. I hate puppies.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Quinn.
Hi, Sonny. So it's just the one building you're going to be acquiring at this point?
At the moment, but.
I don't want you to tip your hand unnecessarily.
I want to get more than one, but at some point somebody's going to rein me in. But I have ideas.
Because they own the two buildings, and I think they own the lot across from the Holly as well, correct? Cheaper by the dozen.
All right. Is there anything else? So with that, we're not voting because we're a study session, but what is the ask of Mira at this time?
Well, so as a study session, staff is looking for a board's direction as far as we have an existing agreement and approved funding agreement that you all did back in December. It was very specific for a specific capital project in the addition to the existing Carnegie Library. So if it's the board's intention that they want to sustain the funding, then it has to be reallocated or approved for reallocation for this this revised project. And that would be done in the form of a resolution that would come back to you at the February meeting, if that is the direction that you give to staff.
So with that, unless there's further discussion, which Mr. Curlinger has further discussion.
I have questions for you, Harry. And Sonny, you and I spoke about this, so I'm trying not to seem too self-serving, but be pragmatic and make sure I'm changing my council hat to my Mura hat. To be fair, giving $700 or $1.5 million towards a building project that we own was like, yeah, of course we're going to help improve that building. We own it. If they ever move out, we benefit from that. That's the city, though. That's not necessarily Mura. So I kind of want to make sure we're disseminating between those two, making sure I'm keeping the right mindset. But do you have any heartburn about the reallocation of funds? Does it all still seem to fit? They're accomplishing the same purposes. They're just doing it at two different spots now. So if it made sense to do this before because it accomplished Mura goals, is there any reason it wouldn't still make sense simply because of slight change in the dynamic? Does that question make sense?
Sure. I'm not sure I have a complete answer for you other than, on the one hand, obviously there was a lot of attention saying that we want the Carnegie to be a sustainable facility long into the future and that it's well cared for. The work that they're proposing to do in this phase on the Carnegie still addresses, some minor deficiencies like that rear fire stair that needs to be replaced or the exiting that has to be improved, and then some reconfiguration inside. I think Sonny's comment about not putting funds of a public agency into that project is an important one to keep in mind, or at least not hitting the tripwire for prevailing wage. And in that respect, the Mail Tribune, the other funding sources are already going to require prevailing wage. The federal funds are subject to Davis-Bacon. Is that correct? Yeah. So if there's some kind of, breakout of the allocation, you could split it and say, well, you can use this much on the Carnegie and this much on the Mail Tribune, but let's not put too much in the Carnegie that doubles the price of that project. I will answer your question about the rooftop deck. I toured the building a couple of months ago, and I believe it is only accessible through the executive offices that are on the second floor. So the occupancy there would be restricted to 49 people without a second means of egress. It may have a secondary means of egress. I just don't remember seeing one. But to make it a big gathering space may require a second exit stair. But we would need to look into that to see if that was an issue or not.
All right. By show of thumbs, hands, whatever, is there agreement among Mira board members to bring this back in February? Can I make a comment? Say no. Can we put up can we do the thumbs now or no? It depends. Go ahead and ask your question.
So it's a comment about what I think I want this to look like. Because if it comes back to us in this way in February, I'll be excited. If it doesn't come back, I'll be less excited. And so, what I would like to see, and this maybe I'm alone here, is a more specific structure of how this money is used. I think with the Mail Tribune building, we have now a lot more avenues that are traditionally Mira type funding, and if we can sort of fit that all into the whole, that's going to solve a number of issues. I'll go back to continuing to oppose the previous project, not because I think it was a bad project, but because I just do not think it was compatible with the funding goals of Mira. And I think with the Mail Tribune building, we have a new building that needs preservation. There's a ton of stuff that's going to go into that is classic Mira. And so I think we have an opportunity to bring something like that back to us that is a lot less contentious in terms of sort of that applicability. So I see you nodding along. Again, maybe I'm the only one up here that wants that, but if we can accomplish that, then that's a thumbs up from me.
I think I can work with Sunny and her design consultants to identify those features of the renovation of the Carnegie and those features of the renovation of the Mail Tribune that are best aligned with the purposes of Mira funds. And I'm sure we can craft an agreement that specifies that's what we're giving money for. And it may be a budget line item. There are a number of ways that we can do that. But I think we can get to there without any problem.
I'll just say, one of the things Mr. Curlinger said that I agreed with for the different project was, you know what, it's all in the same pool, right? Like the water doesn't matter, it's all in the same pool. So overall, I don't really, however it gets spent in the pool doesn't matter, it's still the same amount to get the same accomplishment. So I don't necessarily care one way or the other if this money goes to this part of the project or that part of the project. The whole thing goes towards the totality of the sum. But does other people have commentary on wanting it broken out, or let's just move forward? Yes.
I'm just happy that you're acquiring an asset that's for you and not for someone else.
Okay. All right, all aboard with thumbs. All opposed? All abstaining? There we go. Okay. Making sure we get everyone on the record with the what is it?
Completely non-binding advisory thumb showing.
Thank you. But we are making no final decisions. We are giving direction to our staff to come back in February with an agreement for a ratification. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Was that the only thing on our studies?
I just wanted to comment. I don't want to seem critical. Talking to you, touring the museum, was really eye-opening, and the work you guys are doing is fantastic. So I don't want to seem like I'm poo-pooing that and not supportive overall. Just making sure I ask the questions.
I had a comment, Kevin.
Sure. Let's keep going.
Sonny, one thing my ears pricked up when I heard commercial kitchen. Would that be some part of what you'd be renting, perhaps, to other members of the public? And the reason I ask is Mayor and Councilor West and I not too long ago had occasion to be at a place where there was dinner, and it was in Phoenix because that was the best venue they could find for the number of people with a commercial kitchen, and I'm not okay with that. It should have been in Medford. So I will certainly be hearing you if you tell me that that's something you are going to do as well.
So it's dual purpose. That's how we feed all the preschool kids.
Right.
But even our preschool chef right now, we already do events and we cater them.
So
with
this
our
would be-
preschool chef, because she's amazing.
There'd be a meeting area and a commercial kitchen accessible.
Yep.
Okay.
But I want to point out that that's a way that we're looking at generating revenue that then turns around and helps make sure that our programs are accessible and that we're not paying for them. I mean, people don't have to pay for them. They can come and we just keep our educational programs free. So we have to keep our eye on all of that so that, families can always come.
Well, I get that. I was just saying that might be a nice little source of revenue.
It should be.
Because it's fairly
It should be,
scarce.
yeah.
And so that's a thing.
Good. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Vile, go ahead.
Mr. Chair, I was just going to say that was the only item on the study session.
Hey, quick shout out to all those people in the back spending your time out here. Thank you for coming, showing your support. All right, so looks like we're done with you guys, unless you want to stick around for whatever the next item is. No.
Not directing you, I'm honestly asking.
No, I think we have more study session, right?
For 20, 30 minutes now? Or?
We got more study session. Is that what I heard?
We have meeting.
A regular business meeting.
Oh, okay. Yeah, study session's over. Okay, good. Well, that's what I got thrown off. I knew we had a meeting. It was like another item, like we had more study session. Okay, hang on.
Mirror, mirror, mirror.
Oh, wait, we have a thing. No, not that one.
Once again.
Sorry. All right, we're ready. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The January 21st, 2026 meeting of the Medford Urban Renewal Board will come to order at time 9:06. Winnie, roll call.
Jessica Ayers.
Here.
Nick Carr.
Yo.
Kevin Keating.
Yo.
Mike Kurlinger.
Yeah.
John Quinn.
Stoyaki.
Zach Smith.
Present.
Kevin Stein.
Here.
Garrett West.
Here.
And Mayor Zarasinski.
Here.
We have 9 present.
Everyone is still here. Approval or correction of the minutes from November 19, 2025. Any corrections? Mr. West?
I can't remember reading them, so.
Okay,
no
stand
correction.
as submitted. Or request communications. Any? None from Winnie. Consent calendar. None. Public hearings. None. Resolutions. 1 resolution tonight. Mr. Mitten.
Thank you, Chair. 70.1 is Resolution 2026-001, a resolution approving the terms for the amendment of the Property Exchange and Development Agreement between the Medford Urban Renewal Agency and Esteban Gonzalez concerning the redevelopment of 920 North Riverside Avenue and authorizing execution thereof by the MURA Interim Executive Director.
Thank you. Staff report.
Okay, so I'm bringing you a resolution to formalize many of the things that we have already previously talked about with this project. To give you an update about where the project is, it is fully through building permit review. It has been bid. They are signing the bid contracts is pending. Part of it has to do with getting these things kind of cleaned up, the things that we've committed to do. The project is projected to cost $7.5 million. We've talked previously about the fact that there's an additional $744,000 SDC fee that will apply to this project as well. So it's really teed up and pretty much ready to go, and there are a couple of hurdles that we need to kind of clear away if it's going to move forward. So this image on this slide is just to remind you of the location in the upper right. 944 is the site of the market. The property behind it on the creek is the property that MURA owns, that we swapped those 2 pieces of property in order to move the project up to Riverside, and we captured the creek frontage. The little gray rectangle to the right is the new stormwater treatment infrastructure that we installed using ARPA and MURA money. That's operating, and we put in a new outfall into the creek. On the left-hand side is the general site plan for the market. So we talked about this before, that when we entered into this project, we didn't have a firm design yet for the whole project. And the intent was that we would obtain, MURA would obtain parking rights in the development to serve that back piece of property that we own on the creek. When we did the initial property line adjustment between the 2 parcels, and then we got to the point of actually laying out the site plan, the parking field straddled the 2 parcels. And that creates an immediate kind of headache in terms of long-term ownership, maintenance of the parking area. It also puts a project that is a capital project that's partially owned by the public and partially owned by a private entity. That raises potential issues with BOLI and prevailing wage and all that. So previously, we presented this to you, and you all gave an indication that you would be willing to do a property line adjustment to make sure that the entire parking field is on Mr. Gonzalez's property, and we just get the benefit of having the parking available for us to use. The other features in the design that have clarified what we need to do to amend the DDA have to deal primarily with utilities serving the building. Let me do it here. If you notice here, in this drawing, we have the market building, And you see where the yellow highlighted areas are? That is the flagpole of our lot behind. It's a 20-foot flagpole that gives us legal access and legal frontage on Riverside. It's also where all the stormwater drain system that serves the Liberty Park Basin drains to that new piece of infrastructure. So the Market Building is pretty much zero lot line right on the south border of the property. And there are utility connections that need to be made through that flagpole to serve that building. There's a sewer line that comes out of the building that needs to go towards the creek to intercept with the main trunk line. There's stormwater that also needs to go back to that infrastructure. And there's a gas line that needs to come from the street up the flagpole and in through the building. So because the building is also zero lot line, there is a small, about 1.2 footer encroachment, subterranean, that we need to provide for. So we're looking at an easement that grants the use of the flagpole, a non-exclusive easement that grants the use of the flagpole for utility and footer purposes. In addition, that little notch that's kind of carved out on the side of the building is the bike corral for the required bike parking for the project. So we would also include a pedestrian and bicycle access agreement for allowing them to get people back there and park bikes. Keep in mind that that flagpole was also always envisioned as a future path to the creek, and the notion that maybe one day there would be a new pedestrian and bike bridge that would connect Liberty Park directly to Bear Creek Greenway. So it's already in keeping that there would be pedestrian and bicycle traffic on that flagpole. So the amendment would memorialize a property line adjustment for this for the layout of the parking area in exchange for our securing all the parking and access rights that we need to get to serve the back property. That PLA was proposed to you all in the form of an outright donation of land. It's about 10,000 square feet. When we did the original exchange, the value of the land in the back was about $9 a square foot. I don't think we have to have it reappraised. I think we know pretty well that it hasn't changed much and that it would be a discount of $90,000 off of our land holdings. The amendment would also provide for the grant of cross easements. Those are required by code under the municipal code when you have shared access coming off of a major arterial without access to a lower order street. You have to have cross easement arrangements among various properties. And then these utility footer and bike easements. And finally, we had talked about, and you all had previously given a thumbs up on a $250,000 contribution to the project. And when we talked about it, it was initially thought that that might be a capital grant for construction of the parking lot or construction of the project. Again, to avoid any potential implications with BOLI, it would be most efficient to provide that support in the form of SDC payments that we will make directly so that they don't count as funds of a public agency in the project. Now, only a couple of you have been involved with this project since the very beginning. So to put this $90,000 land contribution and $250,000 cash payment for SDCs into context, I wanted to give you a summary of everything that we have spent related to this specific project, La Fiesta, and the infrastructure in the back, and everything else that that project was intended to do. Because this was always meant to be a multifaceted land acquisition that could further multiple goals for Liberty Park. So this summary details what we have spent over the course of these years to buy the original Pacific Survey and Supply property, to demolish and clear that site, to exchange property with Mr. Gonzalez, to put in the infrastructure for the storm drain facility, and all the closing expenses, all of that. So we are all in at $1.4 million. Yes.
What triggered the phase two?
What was the phase two for? So the Pacific Survey Supply building used to be Southern Oregon Subaru. And they had repair bays in the lower level behind, and we found underground, concrete vaults that looked like they might either have hydraulic fluid or something like that.
Is that the abatement too?
That's the abatement too.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So it was in response to those very specific, we didn't find any other tanks or anything like
Yeah,
that.
I was just wondering
It was
what
just these
was
weird lift pits that we
Okay.
just had to make
Thank
sure
you.
we got clear about. So all in, with all of our expenses associated with the acquisition and clearing of the site and the exchange, we are into this for a little bit over $1.4 million, of which we still have $435,000 of land in the back, and we received $90,000 as an equalization payment when we did the exchange with Mr. Gonzalez. So our net outlay of the land that we hold is $909,000. Separately, Mura contributed $300,000 to the storm drain project. That was $1 million project, most of which was $700,000 of which came from ARPA. But that's really kind of one of the other things that we did with this project. But I wanted you to have these numbers so that you understood what the additional $250,000 and $90,000 contribution of land brings us to in the entirety of the endeavor in this portion of Liberty Park.
Is there a DDA that kind of signifies that we're at the end of our contributions, or is there more to come?
No, this would be the final, this would be the only amendment. The original property line adjustment and development agreement anticipated that we would work something out with parking and we would look at potential financial contributions or support for the project. This is the deal. This is the final deal. This will be the final amendment. And if everything goes forward, then he can pull a building permit and get started.
What's the expectation or estimate of the value that he will be, that he has to put in to make that building?
Well, it's a $7.5 million construction budget. If you're asking like what would be the
That's what
assessed
I'm
value
looking
for
for.
property
That's what
tax?
I'm looking for. So basically 1.2 now plus another, so 1.5-ish. So
Yeah, but keep in mind
1.5-ish
that-
million.
But all of this money is not just for the market. This is what gave us the ability to do this stormwater project, for one. We still have a development site
Right.
behind.
No, I'm
Yeah,
but
so-
basically I'm signifying that this money is, everything involved that
Yeah.
you've worked on is getting a private development of $7.5 million just in construction costs.
Right.
Great, thank you. Anything else? I saw Mr. West first.
Can you clarify, we're not triggering prevailing wage for this project?
No, but we're doing everything we can to avoid that by doing this property line adjustment.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Curlinger.
With the, and I guess this is possibly to be determined, with the, if we do the PLA and then he does the parking, we have a easement for parking, so people, because someday
Right.
that's going to be a beautiful park with a walking path back there. Is there going to be specific spots, like you can park here if you're going to the park? Because they're just going to be general, they can park somewhere in the market parking lot and leave their car while they go to the park?
The intention is that we can park anywhere in the
It's just going to be
in the
a
lot.
general.
General, right.
Okay.
We have the shared use of that parking lot. There is a small area that is very specific, which has to deal with the access route for equipment that needs to get to the stormwater tank. Because there's only a certain way that you can bring that large vehicle in that does the clean out. So we will have some specific routes around that. But otherwise, the parking is general.
Mr. Card.
Does our possession of this this parking easement create an issue around our ability to trespass people or for like the market? I mean, because it becomes a public easement, like.
Not public easements, it's
I mean-
private easement between landowners.
But because it's Mura, is that not a?
I don't think
Do you get the scope of my question?
Ingress access easement is not the same as a public forum.
Okay.
And so I don't think that this would transform it into a city park or anything like that. I think it would still be, just like you can trespass people from the wastewater treatment plant because it's publicly owned property, but it's not a premises open to the public for public forum purposes.
Well, I guess the point is, if the market is open to the public, that's sort of, is there's just some weird confluence there that we should be concerned about, or is that? Because what I don't want to see happen is like, because we've got this with the market, then the market's got people camping in their parking lot, and like it just gets messy.
Nothing about this fact pattern is making me think the livability team won't be able to figure out how to arrest people who are causing problems.
Okay, Councilor Ayers.
I just want to make sure that we're not putting any more funding into this until he's got approved financing and we know that we have a viable project.
Well, the execution of the agreement, we can make contingent on performance that you have to pick up your building permit and start. Because the permit is ready to go.
Well, you can get a permit before you get financing.
Oh, I think last time I checked, I believe he had secured a financing package from the bank. But
Okay.
we can make those all qualifications as far as
Yeah.
performance under the agreement.
I just don't want to get a situation where we put more money into this and then it dies because the property didn't appraise or, because I look at a lot of construction projects that don't appraise.
Yep.
And that can really kill financing fast. So just making sure that we're not getting over our skis.
Got it. Anything? All right, continue.
Other questions?
Is that all you had?
That's all I have. I mean, you all need to, the recommendation is to approve the resolution.
Okay. All right. Does anyone?
Move to approve the resolution. Is that what you're looking for?
Second. That's what I want. All right. Mr. Keating was the first. Mr. Card's the second. Anything else? And then obviously, Councilor Ayers' comments are in the.
We'll bring the full amendment back
Okay.
as a complete document for you all. Have your eyes on it before you ratify and approve them. This is just saying you approve the terms.
Okay. Any further discussion before the vote? Yes.
Yeah, Joe, I'll clearly, well, not clearly, I'll be supporting this. I mean, this has been dating back for a while. We're continually just trying to find the right way to make this work for everyone and basically revitalize this space. So this all seems to fit in prior decisions and our goals moving forward.
Great. Winnie, please call the roll.
Kevin Keating,
Yes.
Nick Card.
Yes.
Mike Kurlinger,
Yes.
John Quinn,
Yes.
Michael Zarzynski,
Yes.
Kevin Stein,
Yes.
Zach Smith,
Yes.
Garrett West,
Yes.
and Jessica Ayers.
Yes.
We have 9 yes.
Thank you very much, Winnie. All right. 80 board business, 80.1 election of 2026 board officers. Mr. Kurlinger.
Kev, you've done such a good job. I think you should keep doing it.
Great.
I'll nominate you for president for this year again.
We have a nomination for president for Mr. Stein. Is there any other nominations? Mr. Keating.
I nominate Garrett West as vice chair.
I will decline the nomination, but thank you.
Don't we have to do
Yep. Right. So we'll just do the president. Anyone else president? Say
Chair.
Chair.
I said
Sorry.
president. No, I said it. My bad. I withdraw my motion.
The thing.
And I make a motion for
this
Kevin.
This
to
is
be
where our
chair.
hats. This is where the multiple hats has issues here. So chair is the correct term.
You keep delaying this, you're going to lose a vote over here, buddy.
Okay.
So.
All right. Closing nominations. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right. Thank you. Now we'll go to nominations for vice chair.
I nominate Mike Kurlinger as vice chair.
Vice chair. One nomination for Mr. Kurlinger as vice chair. Any other nominations? Seeing no further nominations, all in favor of Mr. Kurlinger being vice chair for 2026, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right. Thank you. Thank you all for your votes. I will do a better job this year than last year. 80.2, recognition of 2025 board officers. Oh, it looks like.
Good evening. I've stayed this whole time so I could recognize you. No, I stayed because it was an exciting meeting. So yes, this is the recognition of the Mira board officers, and I have two board officers to recognize, and I think I'll be able to recognize them again next time around, but it's Kevin Stein. Thank you for being the chair. So I don't know if you come down and get this.
Yay!
Very beautiful. I think you probably have a collection of those.
I have a few of these for different things that I've done. Very honored.
Very pretty.
Hey, thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And Garrett West as vice chair. We certainly appreciate all your guidance and always calm demeanor and help.
Did you ever actually run a meeting this?
I literally did nothing. I had a phone call, I think, with Mr. Stein, but thank you very much. I
Yes.
appreciate it.
Try to follow in your footsteps there, Garrett.
All right. Thank you very much
You're
for
welcome.
that.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for staying. All right. Appointment of Mira budget members. This is pretty simplistic. So what Mira does is we just take whoever the council appointed for regular budget committee, and then we just make them our Mira budget committee as well. And so I moved that Mira board adopt the city council's appointments to the city budget committee en masse for the Medford Urban Renewal Agency budget committee.
Second.
Okay, the names are on your piece of paper. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Carries. 90, director and
for the
staff
sake of the
reports.
record,
Mr. Weiss.
Was it board member West who had the second there?
It was Mr. Card.
Mr. Card.
All right, thank you. It's all on the record. All right, Mr. Weiss.
Okay, real quick, staff report, I have actually two quick items I wanted to tell you. The bids for the Manzanita Street reconstruction project will be in February. Hopefully I'll be able to bring that to you at the end of February because, you've allocated $2.3 million of Mira money to support that project in its entirety. We'll see where we are with engineering and design complete and how the construction bids come in. And if we need to look at any adjustment in funding, whatever, we'll talk about that in the February meeting. Secondly, update Stewardship Development has submitted their intake application with OHCS for the ORCA process, and they have been approved to initiate the next phase, which is the impact assessment application. In our agreement, they have an 8-month window to get that completely through and a final determination from OHCS about the eligibility of the project. So that project is moving along, and they are now starting to spend some really serious money on the impact assessment. Okay, so this Jackson Street question. In this image, you can see where the hotel site is at the corner of 4th and Bartlett. The hotel is taking care of the closure of Apple Street at Bartlett next to Soul Savers and the closure of 3rd Street at Living Waters Church on Bartlett. Mira is taking care of the closure of 3rd Street at Jackson. All that is going to get demolished and new sidewalk put in and some stuff moved around. So in the course of this project, the hotel is adding fire service on Bartlett Street for their project. They're adding some hydrant, they're adding, vault, all that kind of stuff. There was a hydrant, which I've identified here in this map as an abandoned hydrant that was on a 4-inch line in 3rd Street. And there was no reservation of that for firefighting purposes. In talking with the fire department, they were concerned about losing some of that commercial coverage that fire hydrant has provided historically and wanted to look at a possibility if we could add additional fire service to serve the area generally. My hope was initially that we could extend a line from the hydrant at the corner of Riverside and Jackson Street and just run it down under the sidewalk that we were going to build, but we can't do that with Medford Water. So what we've looked at, there is a 4-inch service that runs from Riverside west in Jackson Street. That 4-inch service, I think, is like 1907. It's pretty old. It's pretty typical for a lot of Medford Water Commission lines in downtown. So we own Mira owns property at 325 East Jackson Street. That was the parking lot that used to belong to the church across the street that we acquired back in 2019, I think. And right now, with 4-inch service there, that site is not developable for multifamily or for commercial purposes. It would need a minimum 8-inch line. So we looked at this and thought, well, the nice idea would be is if we could extend that 8-inch line down to our site to make it a viable development site, and then provide a hydrant to satisfy the fire department's concern about commercial coverage in front of the church, then we could kind of address the problem of having removed a certain amount of fire flow and service, and at the same time leverage our piece of property for infill development. So this was not anticipated in the initial scope of work that we put together for just the closure of 3rd Street at Jackson. So my request to you is whether you would be supportive of expanding that scope of work to extend that line down to our property and provide the fire service across the street as requested by the fire department. The preliminary estimate is that would probably add about $150,000 to $180,000 to the entire project. We have $120 budgeted for the closure that we're going to do. So that would more than double the project, but it does kill 2 birds with 1 stone in terms of providing good commercial fire service and fire flow for the area and leverage our property for infill.
Would this help development in any way? Any future development in any way?
Will it?
Would it help development in any way?
Well, yeah, because right now our property can't develop at all without, have to come in with an 8-inch line no matter what. So this actually provides capacity for other properties besides our own.
Okay. Mr. Keating.
Yeah, I seem to be fine with that. I'm just curious, dumb question, why can't they just reactivate the abandoned hydrant?
Well, for a couple of reasons. One, it's on a 4-inch line.
Okay,
The hotel is already replacing that hydrant with a new hydrant at Bartlett Street, so it's redundant for the hotel development. And one of the problems was that the existing 4-inch line at some points is only about 12 inches below grade. So you'd have to tear the whole thing out and replace it. Well, if we're going to do that, let's put it where we need it or where we can make more effective use of it.
So I'm just looking where the Mura site is. There's a hydrant right next door. Is that correct?
There is a hydrant next to us, but that's on an existing 4-inch line.
Okay,
So that
it's on a
4-inch line
4-inch
will
versus
be
8-inch.
abandoned. We'll put in an 8-inch line and we'll reconnect that hydrant.
Thank you.
Well, we'll probably replace the hydrant because it's an old hydrant.
All right. Any further questions? Does anyone want to give staff? Oh, Mr. Curlinger.
Well, so maybe this doesn't matter in making my decision, but where is there another 8-inch line somewhere that we're tapping into?
Is there, I'm sorry?
Another 8-inch that they're tapping
Yeah,
into
there's an
somewhere?
8-inch stub that comes off of Riverside and just comes in, I don't know, like 10
Just
feet.
barely inside on Jackson.
Barely inside. So that's where we will
Okay.
connect, take out the 4-inch line and replace it with an 8-inch line.
So,
And
go
just,
ahead, sorry.
The other thing I was going to say is that we've done this on a couple of occasions already where we added fire service hydrants. We did it at Riverside before the paving was done because we wanted to get ahead of the moratorium on street cuts. So we added a hydrant to serve our property behind La Fiesta, and we added a hydrant up at Cobblestone Village in anticipation of On-Track's conversion because they're going to be needing to add sprinkler service to that building. And we're adding an additional hydrant in the Manzanita project in anticipation of future development on Beatty Street, including the property that we own that we'll discuss next month in study session.
And the location you're talking about of the new service in front of 325, if, I understand that benefits us because it makes our lot developable, but if fire's concern was about a loss of commercial coverage, does removing a hydrant from behind 360 and then putting a new one on the other side of the street in front of it, does that actually satisfies the fire department's concerns?
Yes,
Cool.
that's what they want more than anything else.
That's why
We have a very good
don't make fire plants.
We
'cause
have
I
a
don't
really good
understand them.
relationship with the fire department.
So real quick, so the extra funding would go from the unbudgeted.
Yes, we take that
Mira
out of the
amounts?
unallocated cash resources, which is about 2.1 million right now.
Okay. All right. Mr. Keating, go ahead.
Just one more quick question on this. So I kind of was, along with Mike, thinking like, if you're putting that fire hydrant at 325, there's a huge gap where you have no hydrant, which would have been perfect in the one that's abandoned, but
Okay.
you know what I'm saying? It's just that
the
fire service
hydrant,
doesn't seem.
the hydrant that fire is asking for is the red spot on the south side of Jackson in front of the church. There is an existing hydrant on the north side too. Fire department likes hydrants on both sides of the street, right? Because they don't want anybody running over their
I'm sure they know
hoses,
what they're
right?
doing.
But the issue of service is not so much a hydrant on the north side as it is we don't have sufficient water service to develop 325. And that's what the 8-inch line gets us.
Go ahead.
So the hydrant we'd be adding is on the south side of
Yes.
Jackson, but service is extending up to that green spot where a hydrant could be added in the future for
Correct.
development.
Correct.
Great. Is there any further discussion on this? Are you looking for, what are you looking for?
Just looking for a thumbs up that we can expand the
We're-
scope of work and we'll adjust the budget accordingly.
Okay. I see, for the record, a sufficient number of thumbs. We could take a vote, but it looks like direction is clear to move forward in that way. Is there anything else, Mr. Weiss?
That's it. Thank you very much.
That is it. All right. Is there any propositions or remarks? Nope. Okay, then it's adjournment. I adjourn this meeting, time 9:37.